Sportstime on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Brian Dagan's producing the program for us. First hour of our show is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, as always, and we're in the Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. Relax at home sale going on now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Lot going on. It's Memphis Madness night. Memphis Madness is tonight. And with that, we had some AAC preseason basketball honors released. We'll talk about that momentarily. Braves, they move on to their second straight NLCS. ALCS is now set. The Astros make their fifth straight ALCS versus the Red Sox. If you want to join at any time, call or text the show. AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Also watch us live and message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. But let's bring in my partner, Brett. Brett, how's it going?
Going great, Gabe. Great to be with you. And I thought Anthony and Zach Boyd nailed it in the last bit of their show of Grind Time. With tonight, it will far and away be the biggest crowd post-pandemic, post-Rudy Gobert night. Now, that was on a Wednesday.
Right.
And the last time the Grizzlies played there, that was that Tuesday night, I think, against Orlando. Heartbreaking loss, as the Grizzlies were really playing well down that stretch of that year. And that night, I had Grizzlies and FedEx Forum people telling me that we're really close to being on the edge with this thing. I'm going, it's no big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there was a lot of people with that take at that time.
And you know, I don't even want to joke about it. 700,000 people deceased later from it, and the economy and people's lives so interrupted. So since that Tuesday night, I think that was March 10th, Tuesday night, March 10th. Tonight will be the kind of the reopening of FedEx Forum for Memphis Madness, and Tiger fans so ready to celebrate and fall in love with this team that they're already madly in love with, fall in love even more.
And the proof of vaccination or a negative test does not include tonight. So you are able to get in the doors without that, but there will be masks that you have to wear indoors per the Shelby County Health Department. But I did see yesterday, Jeff Crane was joining the guys on Sports 56 Mornings. He said there'll be 6 to 7 performers tonight.
That's insane.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
You're going to a concert and they're going to play some basketball in and around it. That's a great deal.
We might get your guy Lil Baby in there, Brett.
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's do it. and everybody's holding out, on maybe a big. Well, that would be it for sure. That would be as well. But maybe even some big special guests tonight. And we know how this is anticipated. We know why with this roster, with this team, and how this team finished last year, albeit in the Dallas NIT, but it gave hope, and it was a lot of optimism, and then all these players, this roster. An NBA person that was at last week's pro day told me he doesn't see how this team can't be around at or near the end.
It can't fail roster almost with how much
too
talent
big
they
to
have.
Fail.
Yeah. And
almost literally too big. I mean, it will look like an NBA team rolling
they're long.
Through airports.
Every single guy on the floor will be long and will be very athletic. And that's what Penny Hardaway has tried to do. It seems like he's trying to get a team full of Penny Hardaways. That's what he wants to get done and wants to get accomplished.
And I'm not trying to be the too smart by half, wise guy trying to find something wrong. I'm not. I just know by Sweet 16, you might can get through that first weekend, certainly if you're a 1 over 16. I know it's happened once, but once.
Right.
Even 2 versus 15, 3 versus 14, get a little hairier. You can get through that game with almost anything out at point guard. You get to that next weekend, that next Thursday or Friday night, Sweet 16, punching a ticket into Saturday and Sunday into the 8, and into the next weekend, the Final Four. You've got to have something solid and reliable at point guard.
Yeah.
And that's my only fear is this team is trying to make somebody into a point guard, and I don't think that can be done, and I don't think it can be done on a championship team.
Well, with Amani Bates, I think he has a chance to be very good with the ball, but the turnovers cannot happen. We cannot have a situation where, like the last 3 years, we're going in to the season. The first half of the season has been turnover riddled, and you've lost games because of it. And this year, I think talent will help, and defensively, I think they'll be even better, and that's hard to even imagine. They've been at or near the top every single year under Penny Hardaway defensively. So, I personally think, though, Brett, I do think that Amani Bates can. I think Penny Hardaway especially, being a leader, knowing what Amani Bates' skill set is, I think he can turn him into that guy that can handle the ball consistently and not make as many mistakes.
Well, if anyone can, he can.
Yeah.
He sure knows that position. He knows that longer framed player. He knows that prototype.
Right.
Look in the mirror. That was him once upon a time, and Gabe, it was something to see him when he would run the show. He was a maestro. It was fun to watch here, and before the injuries really got him in the NBA. And this year it starts tonight, and I wonder how packed will it be to capacity.
I would think capacity
100%.
Just maybe a couple empty seats at the very top, but
we don't need a scan count tonight.
Yeah,
Come on,
but
no.
I think a lot of people were angry with the fact that it will not be streamed. University of Memphis will not be streaming the event. I do have the run of the show right here. Just to let people know, from 5 to 6, they'll have the blue carpet experience outside in the plaza area.
That'd be fun.
People walking in, shaking hands, saying hello to the fans. 6 o'clock, the doors will open. 7:15, they will have the introductions. In between, sometime between 7:15, the introductions, they'll do something else. And then 8 o'clock, they'll do the skills challenge. 8:25, three-point competition. 8:50, dunk competition. 9 o'clock, scrimmages. But let's not make
not a lot of defense tonight.
Right. Let's not make any mistake about what this is for.
It's a fun night.
Fun.
Come on, everybody.
You get to see Jalen Duren and Amani Bates and all the newcomers for the first time, but at the same time, it's for fun and it's for recruits coming in. I saw that Chandler Jackson from Christian Brothers will be in attendance.
Zion Cruz will be there.
Right. There's a lot of guys.
That's probably the bigger than any aspect of it. It beats the heck out of spring football.
Oh,
you know I love football.
Yes, spring games are boring. I can admit that. I mean, the guy, the upperclassmen when it comes to the spring game, they're not all that interested.
You know,
Gabe, I want to ask you a personal question. I'm sorry, Brian, please.
No, I was just going to say, when I was looking at the schedule at first, I thought, wow, there's a lot of free time in between. But I guess if we're going to have 6 to 7 performers, kind of need the free time. It'll be packed.
7:15 to 8 o'clock, they have allotted for the intros.
That's
a
45 minutes for
a lot of
intros for 2 teams.
Yeah.
But that's
a lot of interest. That's all the smoke. And tonight's the night for that. Tonight's the night to have fun with it. And I'm not going to say that after tonight the Tigers are kind of are going off the grid, going dark. They're not doing that at all. But the work starts really tomorrow,
right?
And the work leading up to the first of the 2 exhibition games, and then leading up ultimately to opening night of college basketball. That's November 9th. Just about everybody's going that night or the next night, Tuesday night, the 10th.
And I don't want people to forget Katrina Merriweather with the women's team. She's coming in after a very turbulent time under the former regime, and this is going to be
her program.
This is going to be her first time sort of showing her face in front of the fans in her career. So obviously, want to wish the best for her as well. But
all right.
I think
personal question.
Go ahead.
I noticed Monday and Tuesday you didn't have your glasses on.
Oh.
Did you have frame trouble?
I had a loose screw. I just got them fixed this morning.
Well, I have a loose screw constantly. Oh, you mean in your glasses?
Yeah. I like what you did there.
So did you have contacts?
I do not have contacts.
Oh, so you were just flying blind?
Yeah, I mean, I
told
Brian.
Are you nearsighted or farsighted?
I am farsighted.
Well, I don't know what that means, so I don't know why I even asked that.
It means you can't see far away, right?
I thought it was backward. I thought it was the other way around. If you're farsighted, you can't see near.
I can't see far away.
Okay.
I can't
so
see
I think you're
when
nearsighted.
I take my glasses off, I can see everything way down there, but I can't see anything in front of me.
I have astigmatism. The nighttime driving is terrible for me without my glasses. You see all the sort of leaks out from the lights. Oh, it's terrible. Especially
now. No. Late night driving. I'm trying to, but I was worried that if you had done something to your frames, and man, I'd rather about anything happen to me than something happen to my glasses.
Oh my gosh! I told Bryant today I feel like $1 million now. I can see again. I feel great. I can actually see my notes. I don't have to lean in and squint every time I'm trying to change. It's great. It's great. But
a good deal. I was worried. I was concerned for you.
And funny story about my glasses. You know who actually told me I had to go? I had no idea I had bad vision. until my junior year of college. Coach Silverfield is the one who made me go get glasses because I was squinting I was in the front row of the meeting room and had to squint every single time.
Just
I was
to see the board?
Just to see anything.
Wow.
So, yeah, funny story.
Shout out Coach Silverfield.
Way to go for him, and I think it behooves every college coach, any sport, and they can, and those programs can afford it. Get every athlete in the department an eye examination.
I think that
and dental.
I was always used to having 20/20 vision. And my parents have terrible vision, but I never actually had paid attention until I was told by Coach Silverfield, go get it checked out.
No, we were all blind, and my dad my late father always blamed it on the black and white TV we had forever. Because, man, that thing was terrible. We all sat right up by it. And he said, you sitting that close, it can cause you to go blind. And look what it did. He was right.
So real quick, before we get into our top and not top story of the day, I think even more so than Memphis Madness, the American Athletic preseason honors, the poll, and then all conference teams have come out, and Memphis is second. Again, Houston gets 8. Yeah, it goes Houston, Memphis, SMU, Wichita State, UCF rounding out the top 5. Memphis got 3 first-place votes, but Houston is first. I mean,
they went to the Final Four.
Yes, and they got 8 first-place votes from the media. And I see a lot of people via social media, via everything else, talking about how this may be used as disrespect. Brett, has been used as disrespect the first 3 years of the Penny Hardaway era. And the thing is, he's had all of these recruits, all of these 5 stars and 4 stars. Kelvin Sampson doesn't really have that, but Kelvin Sampson has won 20 games nearly every year at Houston. He went to the Final Four last year, and Penny Hardaway's 1-5 versus him. So there should be no disrespect.
And some heartbreakers in there. Some heartbreaking losses. Both of those last year were on the cruel and unusual range, but go win games. Don't worry about preseason.
And you have the people talking, well, are they going to use it as bulletin board material? Well, I mean, let's get past that. let's move past bulletin board material. Let's move to actually finishing first if you're going to finish.
Bring your own motivation.
For the most part, I think that the preseason polls the past few years have been pretty on.
Yeah.
I mean, Houston's been right there, 1 or 2 every single year. Also, with the all-conference teams, first team, you had Jalen Duren and Landers Nolly, and then the second team, Amani Bates and DeAndre Williams.
And we will do it soon. Before opening night, we will rank our Tiger players. We'll go down the whole roster, and we'll rank one being most important all the way through. Last year, I think I had Landers Nolly really high. And you see what they think of him going into this year. But we'll rank the roster. We'll go through W's and L's. There's not going to be a lot of L's.
No, there should not. 30 games on the schedule, 3 in the conference tournament. I mean, what's the baseline for wins this year? What are we looking at? 25,
something
26?
3, something in 4.
Okay.
Going into the NCAA tournament.
Right. Is there any
maybe
surprise?
5.
Any surprise that Amani Bates is not listed first team?
No, no. I think a lot of that is based on the memory of last year, and we're getting ready to change all that with the start of this year.
And Amani Bates playing a position that I don't think a lot of people are used to.
And he's so young.
Used to him
17.
They want him to be a forward. He's going to be having the ball in his hands a lot. He's going to be a point guard style guy. And Jalen Duren being first team as a center makes so much sense.
Who voted in this poll?
This was the coaches.
Okay.
I said media earlier.
I'm going to say not many, but some of those coaches have never seen Amani Bates play.
Right. I will. I mean, they probably have seen
1 or 2
tapes at least, at the very least.
I would hope.
Yes.
But
Jalen Duren being first doesn't surprise me in the slightest because you know what you're going to get out of Jalen Duren. And I don't know who else at the center position, at the forward position. I don't know who else in this conference you could really put up next to him and consider better than him.
NFL Week 6, it's going to be here tomorrow night. And FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play and every weekend. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. Thursday night is a great opportunity to give it a try. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with three legs or more. And if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Tomorrow night, Buccaneers and Eagles. Tom Brady once lost in a Super Bowl to the Eagles. He's not going to tomorrow night. I like both offenses to have a big day, but especially Tom Brady, way over his passing yards. Jalen Hurts, watch him on his over rushing yards and the over total points in the fourth quarter. Brett Norsworthy for FanDuel, and I love talking about FanDuel, and I love that app. I love how they operate. Fast payouts, easy to use, safe and secure. America's #1 sports book. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet. So lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code CASH to also receive 30-1 enhanced odds on the Thursday night matchup. Win $150 on a $5 bet. That's promo code CASH so they know I sent you. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit. That expires in 7 days. Max refund, $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and on the web. Gambling problem, hit up the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the great people at Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. They're at 2600 Ridgeway and they're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. I'm going to spend a lot of the morning tomorrow morning over at Lexus of Memphis where the 2022s have arrived. Great offers on all 2021 models and a great offer on the 2022s. Make them one. Always special leasing options as well. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
And, Brett, my top story of the day is exactly what we just got done discussing. It's Memphis Madness tonight. We heard from Jeff Crane. There's going to be 6 to 7 performers. It will not be streamed. But it's the first time that we get a look at the 2021-22 Tigers on the basketball court. Get to see Amani Bates. Get to see Jalen Duren. Now, what will you get to see from them? Not all that much. Let's be completely honest. This is a fun event. This is something for the fans to enjoy. But it's not about the basketball on the court. Let's not fool ourselves. There's going to be recruits there. I'm sure that it'll be a whole lot of fun. But then also with that, we had the preseason honors. And Memphis is second. They're getting respect from the coaches in the preseason. But we've been in that situation past 3 years under Penny Hardaway. Where does Memphis finish? That's the question that we're going to have to answer as we get into the season. But it's a day to celebrate right now. But let's not fake that there's not a looming cloud over the program right now with the news of the IARP giving the timeline out of what the back and forth has been between Memphis and them since the James Wiseman incident. So there is that looming cloud, but tonight is to be enjoyed.
It really is hanging out there. It's so foreboding for what it could do to the immediacy of the start of the season, the end of the season, eligibility issues. Just go ahead and make the ruling, and then we go with it.
And Brett, everything's on the table. I mean, there is not a situation that is off the table right this second. It could be very bad. It could not be that bad. But it's scary to think about all of the possibilities for this program. Would they have a postseason ban?
Do you still think they could punt as far and do nothing?
I
just bluster.
But it doesn't feel like that, considering they did play an ineligible player. Yeah, they completely put the middle finger up at the NCAA. So it does not feel like they'll do nothing, but hopefully they don't do too much.
I hope not too. My top story, speaking of college basketball, I'm going to talk about a team that's very associated with college basketball. Kentucky football. Kentucky football. They remain undefeated. One of 13 remaining undefeated teams in FBS. They're ranked 11th. They play the Georgia Bulldogs on CBS, the feature game this Saturday, with game day there. Second time in 3 weeks for game day to be in Athens. If Mark Stoops wins this Saturday, before they arrive back to Lexington on Saturday night, he doesn't need a statue built for him. He needs a Roman Coliseum built for him in Lexington.
I can agree.
Because this has always been a tough job because of U of L, because of the small state, because of not many high school football is not prominent in Kentucky. It's not bad, but it's just not as prominent as the round ball. It is the ultimate basketball state, and what Mark Stoops has done is just incredible.
Lifetime contract, statue, build everything for Mark Stoops if he wins this game. Right now, Georgia 23.5-point favorites, and I don't blame them.
Kroger Stadium at Mark Stoops Field.
Everything should be named after him.
One of only two undefeated, or one of only two ranked versus ranked matchups this week. You have this one, and you have Oklahoma State and Texas.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story has to do with the sort of blowback from the Gruden resignation yesterday. And I said yesterday, we both agreed to this yesterday, you can't move on without asking questions. Questions are being asked. There's no question. We know that the investigation aimed to take down Dan Snyder and the Washington football team for misconduct within their organization, but it took down Gruden. There were 650,000 emails. Where's the Washington football team info? Is there anything about the Rams move from St. Louis to L.A.? The NFL said yesterday that they will not release any written info of any of the 650,000 emails publicly. And they also said, with that though, that it's highly unlikely that Bruce Allen, who Gruden was sending these emails to, will ever be employed in the NFL. Now, there has been 40 former Washington football team employees release a statement via their law firm, Katz, Marshall, and Banks. They said it is truly outrageous that after the NFL's 10-month-long investigation involving hundreds of witnesses and all of the documents related to the longtime culture of harassment and abuse at the Washington football team, the only person to be held accountable and lose their job is the coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I completely agree with them. The NFL has the answers, and they need to release them because this is not the way to go about business.
We want a lot more, and they're giving a whole lot less. My not top story, no baseball tonight, and we're down to 5 teams: Dodgers, Giants, Braves, Red Sox, Astros. Those teams I just listed, here's the payrolls: 2, 4, 10, 11, and 16. Sounds like a good lineup of Powerball numbers, doesn't it? But 11 and 16 could still happen in the World Series. That would be Houston and San Francisco. Houston and Boston would be a big drama World Series. Heck, any combination at this point will be fun. I just find no way possible with San Francisco having that last at-bat tomorrow night, whether it's the 9th inning or the 19th inning, that they won't win over Los Angeles.
I love tonight's game. Urias versus Webb, Game 5. Give it to me. I love
tomorrow night's
or
game.
Tomorrow night, sorry.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love that.
We got to watch hockey tonight.
Of course.
Well, did we enjoy the hockey last night? I
loved it.
My favorite part of the entire night of hockey was getting the ESPN, the NHL on ESPN theme back.
No kidding. That is a great one. And I was watching Barry Melrose last night, and I thought, man, you survived the wars. He held on to the rope all those years in the wilderness. Really, kind of their own with Steve Levy, their only on-air person. Linda Cohn really likes hockey, but you couldn't get a hockey mention at ESPN from 2004 until they got the rights back last year. And Barry Melrose with the great mullet, he persevered, didn't he?
Ooh. It's fantastic.
That really
is. And know what I'm sad about though, Brett, is the SEC on CBS theme has always been one of my favorites. We're gonna be missing out on that one coming up.
You got to think somewhere in the fine print that SEC is going to keep that.
We'll see, but that's
just buy their way out of it.
But that is our top and our not top story of the day. Rundown for the day: 3:30. Alex Kuhn, my brother, will join us on the other side from KGYM in Cedar Rapids to talk college football. 4 o'clock, Barrett Jones will join us to talk college football this weekend. He will be on the call. 4:45, we'll have Sheriff Bill Rasco to talk about a charitable event that he will be having this weekend. 5 o'clock, Vince Ferrara from Knoxville will join us to talk Ole Miss and Tennessee. 5:30, what's trending. 5:45, we will round out the show with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But on the other side, Alex Kuhn will join us on Sportstime with Gabe and Stats.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
Tiger Nation, your 2021 NIT champion Memphis Tigers are back and ready to make a splash in the American Conference. Season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a minute of the action with the #1 recruiting class and a brand new coaching staff with Hall of Famer Larry Brown and former NBA star Rasheed Wallace. To lock in your seats for all the action and excitement, call 901-678-2331 or visit GoTigersGoTix.com today.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I know I say this every year, but fall is the best time for Central Barbecue.
You do say that every year.
But it's true.
You say that too.
I do not.
You say fall is the perfect time of year for Central Barbecue. Nothing goes better with baseball in the NBA than Central Barbecue. And then you get all defensive when I point it out.
I do not. I don't say those things every year. You don't know everything.
Oh, and you'll also point out the smell, the slow cooked Memphis-style barbecue is the smell of autumn.
Well, it is.
I know it is. And I know you'll try to squeeze in one more mention of Central Barbecue.
Central Barbecue.
See?
You think you're so smart.
Tired of waiting on your sportsbook? Waiting for deposits and withdrawals? No more waiting with Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-293-1479. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-293-1479. That's 800-293-1479. 800-293-1479. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
At Napa, we've teamed up with AAA to save you 20% online or in-store. That's why they call us the Savings Dream Team. Okay, we're the only ones calling us that, but it's true. Your AAA membership can save you 20% at Napa. So we're basically superheroes with the most specific power ever, saving you 20%. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. 20% off regular retail prices with valid AAA membership card. Offer good online at participating stores. Offer ends 10/31/21.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
I've been moving calm, don't start no trouble with me. Trying to keep it peaceful is a struggle for me. Don't pull up at 6 a.m. to cuddle with me. You know how I like it when you loving on me.
We're back in and rolling. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Join the text line, 901-360-8255. Brett, we have a text here for you that I have to ask you. What time is Lil Stats performing tonight? They asked.
It'll be a late night performance.
Okay.
It'll be so late you'll miss it.
Are you the closer? Are you the closer tonight?
I kind of like that as the name of my band, though. That's a good one.
Lil Stats.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. You'll be well, you won't be the closer. You'll be sandwiched in between Lil Baby and Drake.
I'll just be thrown in there.
You can tell Drake and Lil Baby and Lil Wayne all the facts you know about them.
And it was quite prolific, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was.
It sure was. 4 out of 10. I'm
got the name Lil Stats. So.
That's it. I'll take it any way I can get it.
You can also watch us live.
I've had worse.
Also watch us live and message us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at Sports56 WHBQ. But let's go ahead and bring on my brother, Alex Kuhn, at AlexKuhn523 on Twitter, co-host of the Todd Brommelkamp Show with Alex Kuhn on KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Alex, what is the word, man?
Not much. How are you guys?
Good, real good.
Big
good,
night,
Alex.
big night here.
Big night here. Party still going on there.
Yeah. There's a party and also some weird controversy about whether or not Penn State players were faking injuries, and Kirk Ferentz and James Franklin going back and forth at each other. So fun times.
Yeah. So we heard that they said the Iowa fans were booing because they quote smelled a rat, according to Kirk Ferentz. What's your take on it? I mean, was Penn State faking injuries?
I don't know. If there's an offense in the country that you would fake injuries against, you would think Iowa would be the last one.
Right. Very slow, yeah.
And I know it's weird. This weird, like the media from that cover each team is it's like split on party lines right now. It's a bizarre, like tribalistic case study going on, but no, I don't see it.
Of course, it's party lines. Everything it has to be now, Alex. Nobody can ever see the other one for their assets, and you never see yourself for your own frailties. Everybody's doing it around college football, especially against tempo teams. And as you said, Iowa wouldn't be accused of being that. If they're not a huddle tailback tight end team, there's not one left. But I've got a fix for it. When that player is injured or it has to be removed from the game, he stays out the remainder of that drive, whether it's 2 plays or 12 plays.
Yeah, I think that there were a couple of times where a Penn State player got banged up and then came back in the game, but they were some of Penn State's better players. P.J. Mustipher, their defensive end, got hurt.
Right.
And then Arnold Edekide, who played at Temple before this year, who leads the team in sacks, got hurt, and they thought that he was faking an injury. And I don't know what the strategy would be for Penn State to fake injuries with their best players against a team that takes a minute in between each play.
Yeah, that prolific offense there at Iowa. I mean, just absolutely prolific. You know?
Yeah, what's the biggest hurdles for a Kirk Ferentz team to have the dream season? And by dream season, Alex, I'm sure not trying to patronize you or pat anybody on the head, but I think making the playoffs would be the dream season, wouldn't it? Or would it?
Oh, of course, absolutely. Look, this program is not used to contending for championships, and getting to the playoff would mean that they won the Big Ten championship. That's absolutely a dream season. And at this point, they have all Big Ten West teams remaining on the schedule, and none of them are going to be easy, but they should win most, if not all, of those games, which will set up a contest in Indianapolis, more than likely, either against, I think against Ohio State. The way that they're playing right now, with C.J. Stroud finally coming into his own and them unleashing Trevion Henderson, I don't know how you stop that offense, especially with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson on the outside. If they get rolling, they're going to be very difficult to stop. And at that point, it will be it'll be strength on strength. So Iowa, the biggest hurdle would be offense. Can they go back and forth with a team as good offensively as Ohio State, a team that no matter how good your defense is, they're more than likely going to score 24, 28-plus points, and can you score with them?
Right. And Alex, you and I had an interesting conversation about Ohio State and C.J. Stroud. Obviously, they took the early loss to Oregon. But with what's going on around the country, Clemson completely out of it, Alabama losing a game, Georgia really doesn't have an offensive player that looks like a Heisman-type candidate. Is C.J. Stroud the guy that you would look at right now probably being in the lead as far as a Heisman watch goes?
I mean, if you're making a list right now, how is he not in your top 5?
It's crazy. It's crazy considering how the Ohio State fan base has received him after that Oregon loss.
And you know what?
Unless you're prejudiced against the loss. That's the only way you could not have him in that group.
Right, and you had this preconceived notion of, he didn't look good in the first half of that Minnesota game, and everybody was talking about how he was going to get benched for Quinn Ewers.
Right.
And
they scored 45 points that night.
Yeah, and they came back and they won. And I know they lost to Oregon, but what did he throw for 400-plus yards in that game? Their defense couldn't stop anybody. Right now, there doesn't seem to be a Heisman frontrunner. Matt Corral's in the discussion, no question about it. He's been just absolutely incredible. And C.J. Stroud is in that discussion. And the thing about that I wonder about Stroud, though, is that offense, will some of those guys take votes away from him, like Chris Olave and like if Trevion Henderson, who's averaging over 8 yards a carry, and we know that his best football is probably going to be the second half of the season, will he take votes away from him? Other than that, he's got to be in your discussion right now.
And I promise y'all, I'm not being paranoid. I want y'all's opinion. Tell me if I'm right on this or not. It feels like to me that the national media is waiting. They're waiting to drop Matt Corral like a bad habit.
Yeah, like it's interesting with Matt Corral because you feel like he has to be perfect the rest of the way. Not as far as like wins and losses, but doesn't it feel like he has to throw for 300+ yards per game?
Yep.
The rest of the way to win it.
Yeah.
And
they have to win eight to nine games.
That's rough stuff.
If he wins, I'd even say 9 to 10. Kind of that Johnny Manziel type resume that you put on the board, including some sort of signature win in there. But it does feel that way, and it's because we've become so spoiled with the quarterback play from the last few years with Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson and just all these unbelievable players that maybe you don't realize how great of a player Matt Corral is. He's not the biggest of names coming into the season, but the way he's playing right now, he's certainly. I mean, which quarterback in the country has been better than Matt Corral to this point consistently?
I can't really find anybody, to be completely honest with you. And it's going to be interesting come NFL draft time to see how teams draft the quarterback class this year. I know that there's some talented guys out there. Matt Corral, Malik Willis. I guess Sam Howell was up there. Spencer Rattler was up there, and we'll probably get to that. But I wonder if they're going to overdraft some of these guys.
See, I was talking about this yesterday. Look, there isn't in this class. There's not that guy that you say he's
a number one overall pick. I mean,
yeah, he's so talented that he's going to succeed in any system that he goes into. There's not Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or those types of guys. But when you look at Malik Willis and Matt Corral, you say to yourself, you need the right system, and those guys will and can be successful. Which brings up, okay, I'm not trying to float this as like I have some sort of inside source, but look at the way that Cliff Kingsbury's offense is being built in Arizona, and they're building around a quarterback who is elite at the RPO, who's as good as we have ever seen at running that offense. You're going to see NFL teams bringing in offensive-minded coaches, and I'm just wondering, does a guy like Lane Kiffin get some NFL interest after this year? Those types of coaches to bring in a quarterback like Matt Corral, who the NFL would have scoffed at 5-10 years ago, and who now looks like he may be QB1 in the class.
Yeah, it could be, and now we see preseason favorite for the Heisman, Spencer Rattler. It's been a tough week for him. He was the only Oklahoma fan, it seemed like, that wasn't happy at the end of Red River Saturday for refusing to pose for the ceremonial victorious team photo, and his dad's had a lot of comments this week. Lincoln Riley, I don't know, has handled it that well. He wouldn't bolt on an undefeated team, would he?
Mm.
And Lincoln, real quick, Lincoln canceled media availability for the rest of the week. So I agree with that sentiment. He's not handling it very well.
Yeah, they're hunkered down.
I mean, what do you the thing about the Rattler angle? Like, yeah, I get that you're upset that you got benched and all that, but was Lincoln Riley just supposed to sit there and lose that game? Because make no mistake about
your
it,
team won its biggest rival game.
That they were going to lose that game if they kept him in that game. It was the lead was, they needed a spark badly, and Caleb Williams came in. You could just see the energy from that team completely changed. So Lincoln Riley, I think that he feels horrible in this situation. He feels horrible about having to bench his starting quarterback who had NFL aspirations, who people thought of, I don't necessarily understand why, but as a top 5 pick coming into this season, and in the middle of the year and in the middle of a season in which they haven't lost yet, had to bench his quarterback and bring in the backup. But you got to do what you got to do to win football games, and clearly he made the right decision. And now he's in a position where you think about Nick Saban with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa a couple years ago, not nearly at that level, but you have a head coach who doesn't want to make either of them unhappy,
right,
and doesn't want to see the guy who just got benched transfer immediately, which I wouldn't doubt would happen.
I was going to say, that's what happens. That's generally
I'll quote Penny Hardaway from the scrimmage last week in front of the bigger donors and in front of everybody. He told them, I can't worry about your feelings. I got to win games.
Yep. This is college sports, and I
big time.
You got to make tough decisions. You have to. Sometimes you're gonna hurt feelings. Sometimes you're gonna step on toes. Sometimes you're going to inadvertently get in the way of certain not agendas, but paths to the NFL, like for Spencer Rattler. But he just wasn't performing up to the standard that you need if you're Lincoln Riley in that offense from your quarterback that you have gotten from every quarterback since you have been head coach at that school. He just wasn't giving you enough.
And Alex, Hugh Freeze brought Shea Patterson, his dad, in game week his freshman year to talk about the potential of redshirting, and it was a non-starter with him. And and Shea Patterson's dad told Coach, he said, really and truly, Coach, he said, I've been there for practice, and I must tell you, I think Shea not only shouldn't be redshirting, he should be starting Saturday. And Freeze's response was, what am I supposed to do with the Sugar Bowl MVP, Chad Kelly?
Yeah, I mean,
dads.
You're a coach. You deal with egos, and I mean, that sounds like a little bit of a biased take, as you would expect from the father of a player,
of the quarterback, of a quarterback that's trying to compete, and a big recruit at that. And that's the thing we're seeing a lot is these big 5-star, 4-star recruits have a lot of people in their ears, including their parents. But
when they've been promised a lot too, Gabe, that can't be delivered on.
Yeah, if you promise somebody something, if you make them the starter in this Spencer Rattler situation, if you make him the starter and he doesn't live up to your expectations and he's going to lose you some football games, there has to be understanding, but that's not always what we see. You sort of
supposedly at Auburn, Tommy Tuberville, in the recruitment of Jason Campbell, yeah, you can play basketball. We want you to. Sure you can. Yeah.
That happens all the time.
And it was team photo day, and he went over to have his picture taken, and Tuberville found out about it and said, your basketball days are over. Basketball, stay away from Jason Campbell.
Yeah. It's always a selling point in recruitment. In recruitment, they're going to tell you exactly what you want to hear.
Anything. Yeah, sure you can.
Of course. Real quick before we get you out of here, Alex, it's looking like the Big Ten East, the back half of this schedule, is going to be unbelievable. You're going to have a Penn State-Ohio State matchup, Michigan-Michigan State, Michigan-Penn State, Michigan State-Ohio State, Ohio State-Michigan, Penn State-Michigan State. Is it going to cannibalize itself by the end of the season?
Or
do you think Ohio State sort of comes out and sort of proves themselves back half?
I do. I really do.
Too.
And they just need to be serviceable defensively.
Mm-hmm.
They just need to be okay defensively because, as I said, there is no offense in the country with that much talent all around.
None.
And if the quarterback can settle in like he's doing, and guys, keep an eye on Trevion Henderson. Coming into the year, he was a guy that people were saying was a dark horse Heisman candidate, and now they kept him. They kept his carries low the first few weeks of the season. And if you remember last year, Trey Sermon, they didn't really use him till the back half of the year in the stretch run. If you think about 2015 with Ezekiel Elliott, he really got going in the second half of the season. Ohio State is a team with so much talent that they can kind of afford to not take it easy, but keep players on pitch counts the first half of the year, and then really unleash them in the second half of the season, and that's what I expect from them again.
He is Alex Kuhn. I know you got about 10 minutes till you go on with Todd, so we'll let you go, though, man. Appreciate it, Al.
Get in there and chop it up. Thank you, Alex.
Talk to you next week. Thanks, guys.
You got it. Thank you.
And I sort of do agree with his sentiment. That Ohio State team, I know that Oregon loss is sort of an outlier, and I know that Kerry Coombs, their defensive coordinator who was calling plays at that time, has sort of been ousted of the play-calling duties on defense. But I think the back half of the schedule will set up relatively nicely for them, and I think they can.
In Ohio State, they're like a lot of teams. Just get a couple of stops on defense.
Right.
We're not talking about fearsome, foursome. We don't expect Merlin Olsen to walk in.
And it's crazy, too, the C.J. Stroud conversation. Me and Alex were talking about that. What has transpired, how much has been talked about C.J. Stroud not living up to the hype. And now, I mean, you look at the Heisman race, he's got to be there at the top. Obviously, Kenneth Walker is probably who I would say through the first 6 weeks from Michigan State. He's run for about 930 yards through 6 weeks. He's probably the guy I'd look at right at the top now. But is Michigan State going to stay there? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Now, when we come back, we're going to switch gears before we get back to the college football conversation with Barrett Jones at 4. We're going to come back, and Kyrie has talked about why he is not getting the vaccine, but the reason may surprise you. We'll talk about that on Sports 56 98.5.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy. Greg Gaston and I have moved. Instead of Sports 56 middays, we are now Sports 56 mornings. That's right. Join us every morning from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Fall is in the air, and so are Choate's Early Bird Specials. Right now, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier gas furnace. Carrier furnaces come with some of the best warranties in the industry, and Choate's has been professionally installing them for over 60 years. As a Carrier factory authorized dealer, Choate's also offers competitive financing solutions for you and your family. If your heating system is in good shape, make sure you take advantage of Choate's Early Bird Tune-Up Special for $60. This tune-up is an in-depth 20-point inspection to make sure your furnace is ready for the winter season ahead. So call 347-8086 to schedule your Early Bird Special today. And turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with Mizuno irons and wedges. The JPX 921 Hot Metal Pro, Tour, and Forged irons offer Mizuno's fastest ball speeds ever. And the new T22 wedges feature 4 different sole grinds for varying techniques and conditions. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-386-9945. 800-386-9945. 800-386-9945.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine is celebrating their 35th year. Come in today and choose from a big selection of tequilas, vodkas, and over 70 different single malts. Bourbon whiskey fans will find over 200 bourbons and whiskeys from around the world, along with wines from every region for all you wine enthusiasts. Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine, 146 Highway 72, Suite 102 in Collierville. It's next to Captain John's Barbecue. Open every day, including Sundays from 10 to 7 for football and all sports fans. Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine, celebrating 35 years with you.
Bellyacre's motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. Two great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Daria or the Double Daria, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Bellyacres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Bellyacres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Bellyacres.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Real quick, before we get to the Kyrie Irving conversation, had to look up the current Heisman odds since we were talking about it so much in the last segment with Allie Spoon. Matt Corral right now, plus 200. C.J. Stroud at plus 800. Kenneth Walker III, who I mentioned, plus 1,600. Bijan Robinson, plus 2,000. Desmond Ridder, dark horse, but still at plus 2,000. But the thing with Matt Corral is just how many losses can he afford to take? And I think the back half of the schedule he can handle himself. But how many losses can that Ole Miss team endure before he drops out of that conversation? Now the Kyrie thing. Kyrie Irving, for those that don't know, will not be playing for the Nets until he gets vaccinated. Sean Marks has made that much clear, the GM for the Nets. But yesterday there was a report that was published about Kyrie and the reasoning behind why he's not getting it. He says he is not anti-vax, but he is mad that people are losing their jobs, and he wants to be, quote, the voice for the voiceless, Brett.
Okay. And I think he really does want, and I'm not going to say martyr, but I think he really wants to have that role, that huge socio-political
contrarian.
More than that. I mean, I think he badly wants to be the sports figure. He looked at Rayford Johnson and Rosie Greer and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Muhammad Ali and Bill Russell and a lot of those pioneers in those days.
Right.
I think he wants to be that. And if he doesn't want to play, that's okay.
I would say fight for the right reasons, and he does a lot of that. He bought George Floyd's mom a house. He paid tuition for HBCU students, bought a bunch of Christmas presents
to be
over
vilified.
the years. He's done a good job.
There's a lot worse people in sports than Kyrie Irving.
Yes, he's done a lot of good things for charitable foundations and his causes. But in this situation, I don't really get his thought process. I understand a lot of people that are scared of the adverse effects that may happen from taking the vaccine. I get that, and it is your choice. But my big question here, Brett, can't you fight for those same people for their right to say no to the vaccine, even if you do get the vaccine? Can't you fight?
Yeah.
I don't get where Kyrie Irving's coming from, but we will see how this plays out. It seems like he's not going to budge on this situation. He is who he is. But on the other side, we're going to get back to college football with Barrett Jones, ESPN National Radio College Football Analyst, former Alabama offensive lineman, played every position across the front. And I appreciate that because I was the same way, maybe for a lesser scale, but I was the same way across that Memphis front. He will be calling the Florida at LSU game. We'll talk to him when we come back.
Don't wait until one of life's little surprises forces you to see a doctor. Schedule a wellness visit with Baptist Medical Group and start a healthy relationship with a care team dedicated to keeping you and your family well. At Baptist Medical Group, you'll have access to convenient care, including online scheduling and video visits with a doctor who knows you so you can get the right care when you need it. Visit BaptistScheduling.com or call 844-837-2433 to schedule an appointment today. Get better with Baptist.
Taqueria Express has a new location at 6290 Winchester with family deals every day. Mouth-watering chicken tacos, only 99 cents. 3 tacos with rice, beans, and fresh guacamole, only $6. And incredible signature dishes with chicken or beef chimichangas and homemade tortillas stuffed with fresh beans, rice, and cheese on top. If you're hungry, try Taqueria Express's gigantic Macho Burrito. Homemade with fresh flour tortilla, and you choose beef, chicken, pork, or shrimp. Includes beans, rice, melted cheese, lettuce, tomato, and sour cream. Fajita fans, try Taqueria's delicious chicken or steak fajitas. Big enough for 2 people and only $10. If you're thirsty and want something unique, then try Taqueria drinks made from scratch, like melon and pineapple. Margaritas are buy one, get one free, and they got a little kick to them. For real Mexican food, Taqueria Express, 6290 Winchester. We'll see you guys there, and don't forget those strong margaritas. Buy one, get one free.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Nothing's worse than starting trouble. Well, we can help you out. We can start with a free battery test. That way, we'll know if your battery is causing the issue. It could be your starter, it could be your alternator, and you don't want to waste money on the wrong fix. And if you do need a new battery, we've got you covered with a wide selection of replacement batteries. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2020.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck-head dress shirts, duck-head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour number 2 has arrived on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Bryant Dacus producing the show and doing a fantastic job. Make sure you watch us live and message us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. Now, we promised we'd get back to college football. We're going to do just that with Barrett Jones, at Barrett A. Jones on Twitter. He'll be calling the Florida at LSU game this weekend for ESPN National Radio. Barrett, how are you?
What's up, man? How are we doing?
Doing well.
We're doing good. We're doing good, Barrett. We were rocking along last week. I was ready to crown Alabama another national championship, and then Saturday happened. And Barrett, in the list of quarterbacks that's got the pelts on the wall, that's defeated Coach Nick Saban, I never envisioned Nick Calzada joining that club.
The Calzada, I didn't see that either, but I also didn't see Steven Garcia coming in 2010. So.
Right.
You know, there's a few interesting pelts up there.
Yeah, I saw Lattimore and Jeffrey against y'all, though. I could see that year more than – this one was the stunner. Maybe since the Utah Sugar Bowl, this was the one that Alabama really lost. I mean, it was hard for me to kind of compartmentalize.
I'm with you. Look, trust me, it was a wild deal to observe. I mean, talk about 100 straight wins over unranked opponents, and then to come back in that game and take the lead. I think probably everyone in America was thinking the same thing I was thinking. Okay, A&M put up a good fight, but now it's 38-31. This game's over. There's no chance that Bama's going to lose this game after they came all the way back after a sloppy start. And then obviously, you know what happens next. Texas A&M gets the ball, marches it down the field, scores a touchdown. Bama goes 3 and out, and then they hit the game-winning field goal. That was, to me, was honestly the most shocking part, was that they come back, they take a touchdown lead, only to lose it again. That was a bizarre way to lose for an Alabama team that I think was a lot better than A&M probably.
And I think this week, this year, was the first time with Jimbo Fisher being at A&M that we finally took them off upset alert against Bama, but they actually got it done. Do you view this as them maybe turning the corner this season? They finished with a pretty easy schedule, relatively. Mizzou, South Carolina, Auburn. They have Ole Miss still on the schedule. Prairie View, LSU. Do you view this as A&M turning the corner this season?
Well, potentially. I mean, A&M. Goodness, I've been a major detractor of A&M all year. I didn't think they were a very good team. I mean,
me too.
Every game I've watched of theirs. I mean, I thought they were ranked in the top 10 all year because of just preseason expectations. I mean, they beat a bad Colorado team 10-7. I mean, I know their quarterback got hurt, but like Calzada has not looked very good. I mean, the offense has been very disjointed. The O-line's been a mess. And then all of a sudden they come out and, he starts the game off like 15 for 16. So, what do I know? If they play like that, then yeah, they'll definitely turn the corner. But if you turn on that Mississippi State film, then that'll be singing a whole different story. So I don't know who this team is anymore. They had a great night. Can they string some wins together? Yeah, potentially. And I might call that Ole Miss A&M game in a few weeks, and that will be a huge game for them, as you mentioned. But yeah, it could be. But I'm not ready to say, okay, A&M finally has turned the corner because they've been so inconsistent to start the year.
Barrett, you said I don't know who this team is anymore. I don't know who this sport is anymore, but I know I love it.
It's fun,
crazy.
isn't it? I mean, it has. I think it's maybe it's just me, but I feel like this has been one of the most fun years in a while. I thought it was
the best in my life.
It's been so great, and maybe it's just because the saying that absence makes the heart grow fonder. I mean, we kind of were not that we didn't have a season last year, but it definitely was. It was a lot different without fans, and now they're back. I think everyone's just appreciative to be back in it, and it's been a blast.
And you're calling the Florida at LSU game this weekend, and every single week I have questions about this LSU team. You don't know what you're going to see. It's Jekyll and Hyde. Last week they got absolutely drubbed, in my opinion, by Kentucky. Had the 2 late scores to make it look good. Through your prep, what you're going to do this weekend, what do you think of this LSU team? Are they completely lacking confidence at this point in the season? Where are they at?
Oh, well, I called them 2 weeks ago. I thought they were actually coming into that game with pretty good spirits. I really felt pretty good about where they were headed, some of the things they were doing. I thought they were just coming off of a good win against Mississippi State, playing pretty well. And then all of a sudden, Auburn came into town and they laid an egg after a pretty good first half. They couldn't get it finished. And, obviously since then it's just been a downward spiral. The UCLA loss, the first game of the year, thought that was kind of an anomaly. They were going to recover. The thing that shocked me the most about all the things that are shocking about LSU this season specifically is their inability to run the football. I mean, I don't know how much LSU you guys have watched this year, but it's like shocking. I mean, to think that is the LSU Tigers.
Starting on
when I
opening
called
night.
them, there were 3 teams in college football when I was calling their game that were worse at running the football in FBS. 3 teams out of 121 or something that were worse at running the football than the LSU Tigers. Like, that is bizarre to me. A team that has run the football as well as anybody over the last few decades, and it's hard to win like that. And Max Johnson's actually pretty good. Like, he's played pretty well. They just put a lot on him. The O-line's been a major disappointment. I mean, they just lost Keishon Butte for the season. There's rumors they might have lost their cornerback, Eli Ricks. He might be out now too. They've already lost Stingley. He's probably not coming back after the way of the season. So it's kind of one of those, it feels like everybody's jumping ship right now. And I have a feeling that the coaches are starting to update their resumes. It might be a rough end here.
Barrett, I'm scared across college football. And you've even had Will Anderson on Alabama basically say, park your NIL and your things off the field somewhere else. We got to worry about playing ball. There's a lot of stories at LSU that players are interested in more things than practice in the afternoon and LSU football. I'm for the liberation. I'm for the player entitlement. I'm for them getting their piece of the pie. But it is yet another minefield for coaches to navigate.
Well, there's no doubt, and we talked about it last week. It's going to be really interesting to see if there are more and more coaches that are willing to take lower position jobs, good coaches, coordinator type coaches that are willing to take maybe regular assistant jobs in the NFL. I wonder if there's going to be people that just don't want to deal with having to handle NIL, handle all the things that are going on, constant re-recruiting every single season. It seems like an exhausting time to be a coach in college football. So it definitely will be something to keep an eye on as some of that talent starts to go elsewhere in the coaching ranks because they don't want to have to deal with all the things that come with college football right now. And you're right. There's a lot of good things that have come, but there's always going to be unintended consequences when you make an adjustment like this.
Right, and the transfer portal. I saw this week, it was Dabo Swinney. He got asked the question about why he has not used the transfer portal, why they have not taken advantage of it. And he basically said something to the effect of that he was not going to just jump in and grab transfers for the sake of grabbing transfers. But you see around the country, the best teams in the country, Ohio State, Alabama, they have embraced it. What do you think of how Dabo has used the transfer portal? And do you think that nowadays there's an absolute need to attack the transfer portal hard?
Do you mean what I think about how Dabo has not used the transfer portal? I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, he definitely has been resistant to it. I know it kind of goes against sort of what he's built there at Clemson. He doesn't have a lot of guys that transfer out and also doesn't have a lot of guys that transfer in, and that includes coaches. I mean, probably one of the most impressive things they've done at Clemson is the way they've retained all those really talented coaches. I mean, they've done a nice job of keeping those guys around for the most part. I mean, you look at that defensive staff; they've been together a long time. They've had a lot of guys there that love to live there, and it's definitely been a big reason for their success. So, yeah, I think it wouldn't surprise me with all the things going on at Clemson if we see a little fresh blood inserted, perhaps in the transfer portal, and I think there might even be a few shakeups on that coaching staff after the season. That's something certainly to keep an eye on.
Barrett, if LSU were the normal LSU, I would say that Alabama could lose one or two more times this year. The game against LSU, if they were normal LSU, I no longer think that. The game on the plains at Auburn Voodoo always can happen over Thanksgiving weekend. Last weekend, Alabama looked like some feared they might look this year in that 2010 season for you guys, although that team was so very talented. Mark Ingram back, Julio back, a lot of pieces back. But lose to Stephen Garcia, lose to Marcus Randall, who got it all right at the bowl game and then won it the next 2 years. I thought this could be the operational pause, and then I see them last week, and I don't think so. Where are they? Who are they? Did they get right this week at Starkville?
Well, that's a good question. I think there's probably a lot of people that are asking themselves the same question for Alabama. To me, I think that the offense has exceeded expectations. I mean, I really do. I know there was some criticism about how the offense played at certain times of the year, but let's not lose perspective. I mean, I know they blocked a punt to get to 38, but they scored 31 points. I mean, against a defense that's pretty decent in Texas A&M, and I think has a lot of talent, really. So I really don't think it's an offensive issue. The thing that surprised me the most is the way the defense has performed. That's been shocking to me. I thought this defense had a ton of talent, and I thought it was going to be one of the best units in the country. And to me, they have really not played well. They have a lot of talented players on that group, and they just haven't come together. It's hard to point out one specific thing. There was a lack of a pass rush. The secondary has not been what I think a lot of people expected it to be, which was better than a season ago with some of the younger guys have another year in the system. They just really struggled, at least for Alabama standards, to be elite. And they played that first half of the game against Ole Miss, and I thought, okay, here's the Alabama defense. They finally got it figured out. They're playing better football. But that was they were back to their old habits there in that A&M game. It looked extremely sloppy, a lot of blown coverages, missed assignment, those kind of things, the things that drive coaches crazy. So that's probably been the most surprising development to me. And again, the offense, I think, is all the questions I had who the playmakers would be. Guys, we talked about the transfer portal, Jamison Williams. Mm-hmm. He's been awesome this year for Alabama. He stepped in. I think a lot of people just assumed Jonathan Mechie would be the guy, but Jamison Williams has stepped in, done a good job. Bryce Young, Brian Robinson has come back to be a good running back. So they've got playmakers on that side of the football. To me, defensively is where they've really got to find answers.
And do you think defensively we may be looking at a situation where the coaching situation in general may be looked at? Maybe not. I never talk about mid-season hirings, firings, all that type of thing. But in the offseason, you think that they'll look at that one pretty hard?
Well, it depends on if you ask the Alabama fans right now. I can assure you, there's not a lot of people in the Pete Golding fan club. So,
right.
You know what? I don't know. Certainly, it'll be something that's looked at. I know they had a lot of trouble there with turnover at that position. They were trying to find somebody they could keep for a while. But I would imagine if it continues like it is, it will certainly be addressed.
One of the games I'm looking at very closely this weekend, Ole Miss traveling into Knoxville to play Tennessee. And Tennessee the past 2 weeks has looked good. Josh Heupel has handed the keys to the offense over to Hendon Hooker, and they have scored 62 versus Mizzou, 45 versus South Carolina in winning efforts. And this is the question that keeps coming to me constantly is right now with what Josh Heupel has done these past 2 weeks, are we already on pace? Is he already ahead of schedule to where he should have been considering all of the turmoil and everything else that happened in the offseason?
Yeah, I think Josh Heupel's one of the best stories of the year, honestly, with the job he's done over there. He's done a fantastic job. It's honestly, it's been a little bit under the radar. And I know some of these teams they've beaten lately are not necessarily good teams, but I've been very impressed with just their focus. I mean, goodness, that was a program that was in absolute disarray a few months ago. They had a hard time finding the coach they wanted, and obviously depends on who you ask. I'm sure now they would swear Josh Heupel was their first guy, but there was a lot of instability. We'll put it that way in that program, and he's done a fantastic job of coming in, calming everything down, getting some positive, press for Tennessee. People starting to see, okay, they can play some offense here, and it's been fun to watch. So I think they have an identity right now offensively. They're starting to have some confidence, play with some excitement, and I absolutely, I don't think he'll probably won't win Coach of the Year just because of normally that goes to a team that is kind of surprisingly in the top 10. But I would say he's done as good of a job as anybody in college football this year with the way he has sort of changed the brand and the way we're thinking about Tennessee football moving forward compared to how we thought of it a few months ago.
Barrett, Coach of the Year right now has to start with Mark Stoops at Kentucky, doesn't it?
Got to, I think. He's done a fantastic job, and I think how they compete in this Georgia game, no one would ever admit that you can, win points for how you lose somewhere, because I don't think they're going to beat Georgia. But how they compete in this game against Georgia, I think will have a lot to do with whether he wins that award or not.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fourth quarter game. Do you?
Not really, but you know what? Maybe I hope I'm wrong. I just think, man, I think Georgia, that defense is on another level right now. They're playing
good,
some really, really good football. But hey, I hope it is a fourth quarter game. I do. But if you're going to make me ask right now, I think it'll be a 3-touchdown game. I hate to say it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, the line looks that way. 23 right this second. Now, elsewhere in college football, we have the Lincoln Riley situation at Oklahoma. Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler sort of duking it out as far as.
I thought you were talking about the situation where he kicked everybody off the field.
Oh, I was getting there. As far as the media, he has kicked everybody out.
No binoculars allowed.
How do you feel about that? Is that almost, and in my opinion, I think it's kind of the worst way to handle that.
I think it's kind of funny, honestly. I'm not a member of the Oklahoma media, so I don't care that much. But I think that college football is petty, and it always has been, and it always will be. And that is a very petty move. But that's part of what makes college football fun. Is that there's ridiculous things like that happen, and that's ridiculous, of course. I think most people thought that he would be the starter this week. I certainly did after watching the game, but. I guess that maybe that's, the revealing trade secrets, and people get worked up by that kind of stuff. I'm not one of those people. I think it was, would I have done that? Absolutely not. I think it's very petty, small, and I think it only hurts your reputation, I guess, with the way people talk about you.
It's more distracting.
I think it's just kind of silly. So, to me though, like it's part of, again, I love like when teams do petty stuff. Fan base, like I'm kind of all about it, honestly. Like I think it's part of what makes it fun. Like now, I wouldn't do it personally, but I think it's kind of fun. I mean, it's pettiness is part of what makes college football great. You got to embrace that.
We can do the petty in college football, and nothing gets forgotten, does it? Every slight, every disrespect, every indignity.
We're talking about it 20 years from now.
Instead of taking a knee, I mean, people just get petty in football. There's some sensitive. Coaches out there. So I mean, look, I'm a little more new age in that camp, which is rare for me. But like I'm kind of like if you line up across, then coaches they can run their offense. They don't have to do all these certain unwritten rules. Like I'm an anti-unwritten rule guy in baseball. So I just don't care that much. But I do like it makes it more fun to me when people get upset and they get petty about stuff. So I'm all for that.
He is Barrett Jones. He'll be calling the Florida at LSU game this weekend for ESPN Radio. Appreciate you joining us, Barrett.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Barrett Jones, every week with us, brought to you by Belly Acres, and their motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the entire family. 2 great locations. Another one on the way and on the way soon. Right now, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef, sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. Show up hungry, and they're going to get it fixed for you if you do. I promise you. The burgers are like the dairy or the double dairy. You're so good, and they melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo. You have to try it all. All the food's good. And it's all done the right way. It's the quality brand the Belly Acres teams developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. Soon to be 3 locations, now 2 great locations. Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble. the very best quality available in Memphis is at Belly Acres. Burgers, shakes, and smiles at Belly Acres, and they bring you Barrett Jones every Wednesday afternoon.
And Barrett makes a great point. The pettiness is what makes college football great. And you remember a bunch of things about coaches that they've said in the past, what Dabo said about NIL and about the transfer portal has
Clemsoning back in the day.
Yes, but it's been held against him this entire year. And speaking of, I don't even think petty is the way to put this, but did you see Lane Kiffin yesterday, his Twitter post, and how he was getting the team ready for the sold-out crowd in Knoxville?
And can't be a surprise to anybody. Everybody does that game week. They usually take it indoors and blast it to where nobody can hear it except for dogs.
I mean, usually it's blasting music in general. I guess he just had Rocky Top on repeat, though.
He did. He did, and it will be on repeat Saturday night. It will be as jazzed up Tennessee crowd since when? I'd like for a Tennessee fan to text us at 901-360-8255 at the AutoZone text line. Text me the most jazzed up UT crowd since when. And on the petty front, I told this story this morning with Dave. In 2014, the last time Ole Miss and Tennessee played, it was in Oxford, and Hugh Freeze ran it up. He tacked one on at the end. It was 27-3 or so late in the game, and put in Mark Dodson. He wanted to get Mark Dodson some carries and some confidence, but he could have been taking these, and he scored. That Monday on our show right here at the AutoZone text line, a texter called in and said, I won't forget. And I responded to the text on there by saying, well, you better have a long memory because we don't play again until 2021.
People don't.
2021's here. I bet he remembers.
And by the way, Mark Dodson, he became a teammate of mine. Played with him very, very briefly at the University.
Oh, he was so talented.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. It's sad it didn't really work out for him.
It sure
long
is.
run, but he was a very
out of Whitehaven.
Player.
Everybody wanted him.
Yes. Yes.
And if people remember the Katy Perry day, the big upset of Alabama that year, I mean, I don't know why he stepped out of bounds. He just ran out of bounds. Mm-hmm. He brought the opening kickoff back to the Bama about 35.
With the Lincoln Riley situation and kicking out the media, honestly, it's more common than we give it credit for. I remember with Justin Fuente, there was times where if we had a hurt player, he would have the media out there for the first 10, 15 minutes, and once they left, he'd bring out said hurt player to do his normal duties and everything else. So hiding who you're going to start, hiding who's injured, that's relatively common. But in this situation, kicking them out midway through practice and making a scene out of it, I think is more of a distraction than anything else.
And I think it hurts your fans because, again, it's like I said yesterday about the Grizzlies. Then it leaves everybody to fill in the blanks.
Right.
Okay, if you're not going to give us the meat and potatoes, then we'll speculate.
Yes, and there's something to be said about not showing your hand, but also you still need to be relatively professional. You can say I'm not going to name a starter, but from what I understand, it looks like Caleb Williams has been taking most of the first team snaps, as we should expect, though. I mean, after last week at 400 yards of offense when he came in, there was no turnovers. Spencer Rattler turned the ball over, only had about 150 yards offense. It just makes sense. It does make sense, but college football coaches and buildings can really go clandestine and super paranoid, and I guess I understand why, but it's very petty. Back to our theme. 100%. Very, very petty. Now, in the MLB, the playoffs are rolling along. We have the ALCS completely set. Astros, Red Sox. NLCS not quite set, but the Braves move on to their second straight. And then tomorrow night we'll get a heck of a pitching matchup. Logan Webb versus Julio Urias decide who moves on to play the Braves in the NLCS. We'll talk about all that and more when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
You have opinions?
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Fall is in the air, and so are Choate's Early Bird Specials. Right now, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier gas furnace. Carrier furnaces come with some of the best warranties in the industry, and Choate's has been professionally installing them for over 60 years. As a Carrier Factory authorized dealer, Choate's also offers competitive financing solutions for you and your family. If your heating system is in good shape, make sure you take advantage of Choate's Early Bird Tune-Up Special for $60. This tune-up is an in-depth 20-point inspection to make sure your furnace is ready for the winter season ahead. So call 347-8086 to schedule your Early Bird Special today. And turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family.
The Relax at Home sale's going on now at Family Leisure. Enjoy a game of pool. How about shuffleboard with friends and family? Relieving aching muscles with full body massage chairs. They're the coolest. Chill out and watch a movie. Or the big game in style with the new theater seating. Also on sale, we got spas and saunas and patio furniture. It's the Family Leisure Relax at Home sale. Going on now, I-40 and Wynn Road, Family Leisure. Where family and fun come together.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, I started the first micro distillery in the state of Texas with my dog, Dog Joe, at my side. We're still working with dogs out at the distillery after all these years. Learn more about how dogs are a part of life here at Tito's Handmade Vodka at vodkafordogpeople.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Welcome back in. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Continue to join the program via the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. And also watch us live and message us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and at Sports56WHBQ.com. Slate yesterday in the MLB. Astros win 10-1, close out the series against the White Sox. Braves win 5-4, close out the series against the Brewers. And the Dodgers hang on 7-2, and they force a Game 5. But I have to start here with the Astros and Red Sox, or Astros and White Sox, for a series that, to be honest, the Astros owned. It wasn't even close. There was a lot of drama in it, wasn't there, Brett?
Well, they bring the drama with all the theatrics of years past. And
obviously Dusty and Tony La Russa as well.
Yeah, and even accused of some shenanigans in this one. I don't think there's much evidence there. And it will always be, forever and ever, forever and ever, though, if Houston does well, especially at home, that they're going to say they're banging on the trash cans. And that's going to go with it. They're stuck with that forever. And it's why I so hate in college athletics, and everybody does it. In college football, if you get accused of some type of skullduggery, you got one fan base behind you, yours. You got 129 saying cheaters. I knew you would. The Tigers are going to endure this coming up.
Right.
However the IARP decision falls out. And when we're talking about never forgetting anything, they're going to bring up stuff from almost 40 years ago now with the Tiger program. And that's not fair. I wish people would unify and go, no, we think some of your rules are goofy, but they're not going to. Now, professional sports are a little different.
Well, can I also pose this question? Is there something different when you're talking about the Astros? This was cheating on a scale that we haven't seen before. This was cheating in a professional league, And I'm not sure if at the college level, when we're talking about recruiting violations, I'm not sure with Memphis that people will view it similarly. Now, the Astros deserve a lot of what they've gotten, but this is their 5th straight ALCS title. I mean, this is them winning.
I just don't think you cheat. I don't think they got
not
there by
ALCS
cheating.
title, but getting into the ALCS for the 5th straight time.
Yeah, I don't think you have that. Yeah, I don't think you have that success solely because you cheated. They had to be really good. But it's going to hang with them, and I don't think it's fair. And I think about everybody's doing it.
Right, and I do have to play this because Carlos Correa, after winning and moving on, had this to say about the Ryan Tepera accusation.
So, Carlos, this year you've heard from the fans in the stands reminders of 2017. During this series, you heard it from Ryan Tepera, an opponent. Did his words referring to the sign-stealing scandal have an influence on this team?
Disrespectful words with no facts, with nothing to say. We scored 6 runs at home. Then we scored, 9, and then we scored 6 again here. They just happened to score 12. And then you look at our OPS on the road, what's the best in all the big leagues throughout a 162-game season, which we play 81 on the road. Their OPS was a lot higher at home than it was on the road. So, just another kid that needs to know the facts or, what else needs to do.
And they scored 31 runs in 4 games against the White Sox. He's dead right. I mean, there should have been no accusations thrown around in this situation.
That's not how they won. That's not, for years the accusation around performance enhancing, maybe with Tiger Woods. That's not why he was winning.
Mm-mm. And then also yesterday, you asked me, Tony La Russa got in the umpire's face at one point. I finally figured out why that was. Because Kendall Graveman late in that game plunked Jose Abreu, and he thought it was intentional at that point, which would have made absolutely no sense in that situation. Dusty Baker then after the game said that was absolutely not intentional, and Tony La Russa stuck by it after the game, saying that he thinks that they should be the bigger men and admit it. So it's too much drama for a series that was just not even remotely close, Brett.
That was a thumping.
Yes.
And speaking of not close, our picks. We've been horrible. Bryant Dacus leads. He's 2 series correct to 3 losses. He can win tomorrow night with the Dodgers and go 3-3, and he would run away with maybe close to Dormy even. Gabe, you're 1-4. You have San Francisco tomorrow night. I'm 1-4, and I have the Dodgers. So one of us will improve to 2. We'll improve double with a correct pick tomorrow.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some.
We haven't been close. What did we love so much about? We really loved Tampa Bay, all of us. It was group lock, Big L.
Yeah, and the Red Sox, they were timely. They've been hitting timely, and they've been fielding relatively well when it matters. So, I mean, I can't take anything away from them. Do you see the Red Sox getting through the Astros, though, in the ALCS? That's the question I have, because I don't know if the Red Sox pitching can hold up against all the bats that the Astros have.
I don't see how they do it. I think the Astros just have more, and now I think I'm pulling for the Braves the rest of the way.
Okay.
Because we got if it's the Dodgers winning tomorrow night, well, they won it last year in 2020. If it's the Giants winning tomorrow night, well, they last won it in 2014. The Red Sox last won it in 2018, and the Astros last won it in 2017. It's back to 1995 for the Braves, so I would be for the Braves and their fans.
Right, and their fans have dealt with so much. They get so close and get it snatched away from them late. I would like to see that. And Freddie Freeman, by the way, coming through against Josh Hader last night, that was something. He was 1 for 8 going into that game and hits the go-ahead game-winning home run against Hader. Josh Hader hadn't given up a run since late July?
He's untouchable, and Freddie Freeman had one hanging, and boy, he parked it. And Freddie Freeman, nobody's ever knocking off Hank Aaron as number 1 face of the Braves. Nobody, ever. Chipper Jones would be tough to dislodge as 2. Freeman's close.
He's very loved by that fan base. I mean, extremely
very loved.
And for good reason. I mean, there has not been an incident that has tarnished his reputation in that city. I mean, he has been so clean, so close to the vest, and he seems to love that city a lot.
and they respond to him. I mean, he's almost the hero they want.
Yeah, and then with the Brewers, they sort of limped into the series, and I don't really mean injury-wise. There was the Devin Williams injury, but going into the postseason, they were 5-10 of their last 15.
They limped in all the way.
It did not seem like they were going to make much of a run, and the Braves actually played relatively well toward the end of the season.
The Braves finished stronger than Milwaukee. Milwaukee limped in, and we kept thinking that when they got there, they would turn it back on. There was a time when Milwaukee, late July, early August, were really rolling. The Braves weren't then. I think the Braves were one under 500 on August 1st, so they played better down the stretch. And the Brewers, once again, they don't get much out of October.
No, they don't. They just do not. They're never in a – are they ever really a team that we expect to do a lot come October, though? Have they ever had the team where you look at it and you say, this is a World Series caliber team? Because this year, they were good. They stayed atop the NL Central the entire year, but I never thought that they were by far and away one of the better teams in the NL.
I thought they had a chance, but then that week finish, the Cardinals took a little something out of them, too.
Right. They did. Cardinals at the end of the season took a lot out of a lot of people.
Yeah.
17 games straight.
But they couldn't sustain it against the Dodgers. I think it's down to the best teams.
Mm-hmm. They've showed it.
And that's the way it probably should be, isn't it?
Yeah. So if we're picking a World Series winner right this second, who you got? Bryant, you can join in too.
I'm going to go with Atlanta. Riding.
Well, are you saying that you want them to win, or are you saying that you think they're going
I think they will.
Okay.
Kind of riding that fandom.
Give me San Fran.
San Fran? Okay. Ooh,
even though I picked the Dodgers,
yeah. You picked it. You're picking a team that still has to punch their ticket to the CS. I'm gonna have to go Astros. I just think they are hitting. I mean, their lineup is ridiculous. I don't see a pitching staff that can handle that. I mean, you're talking about Correa, Bregman, Altuve, Alvarez, Gurriel, Tucker. I mean, power all through that lineup. I don't see a pitching staff that can stick in a 7-game series from this point forward with them. But
I like the managerial stories. I like Gabe Kapler kind of left for dead in Philly. I mean, really kind of a clown with some of the things he pulled there. Remember, he couldn't get the lineup card right. You know, that's one of the fundamental things of being a big league manager. Heck, in Little League, everybody's got to bat in the right order.
Yeah, and if I'm pulling for a team, I would probably go Giants. I really do like they usually – and I think
Giants
this
can't
year
win it in an odd number year, can they? They won 10, 12, and 14. They can't jump up there and do that this year.
They seem to have been disrespected all year, though. And I keep coming back to that because it's just 107 wins during the regular season, and no one seemed to respect them the entire way through.
I thought they would miss Brandon Belt more in October from his offense, but also his defense. But the country's getting to see just what a superstar Brandon Crawford is. I don't know that we really appreciate him as a superstar, but he is. I love the stories that we're going to have. The redemption story for Alex Cora, the calming seasoned hand of Dusty Baker. I like Dave Roberts going for back-to-back to back up last year if the Dodgers win tomorrow night and ultimately win the World Series. And for Brian Snitker, a baseball lifer, the hours he spent on those backfields doing grunt work, not very fun, not a lot of fun, wildly popular jobs, a lot of bus rides, and he was the right guy for the Braves to get it fixed.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a good finish of the season, and I'll be watching the rest of the way. Also, we talk about managerial openings, still the Padres and the Mets have to deal with the GM. I don't know with Terry Francona and the Indians how that I still am unclear. I just hope that he medically and his health is first there. But with the Yankees,
he's had a lot.
With the Yankees, Brett, we had our talk about Aaron Boone and if he and Cashman would be let go. It's looking more and more like the Yankees are going to keep him.
There was reports out that the Steinbrenner said they didn't think it was his fault. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. Bring him back in the spring, head spring training. I would not suggest getting off to 11-19 start.
No, absolutely not. But
then they'll shake it up. Fire could happen.
But correct me if I'm wrong. They have to re-up him this year because his contract runs out this
year.
year.
He has no deal.
They'd have to re-up him.
I saw him quoted as saying he hadn't talked about a deal with them in a long time.
But, yeah, reading the report and Hal Steinbrenner, I mean, usually not very nice as far as with his managers and losing games and not getting to where they're supposed to get. But he said the report I read said he blames the players more than Aaron Boone altogether.
Which is unbelievably opposite of his father, the late great George Steinbrenner, who always blamed the field manager. Man, he kind of got in that whole act with Billy Martin and firing him like they did, and poor Billy Martin kind of played his part. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it as the dupe, and I thought it was too bad for him.
And Aaron Boone, toward the end of the season, the bullpen selection and what he was doing at times was very bad. Yes, you can blame the players, and I understand that, but Aaron Boone, I mean, with the Yankees and with how storied of a franchise that is, with how much talent,
it's Yankees,
but with how much talent they have, I don't think as a manager you have much of an excuse not to get past the wild card round. I don't think you do. So I'm surprised.
That payroll and those pinstripes and that dealing around the deadline they did, and now 2009, the last time that the Yankees won it. And, if Aaron Boone is fired in season, do they have the, Mr. Right choice out there?
From the report I
Buck
read.
Showalter, maybe?
The report I read said Astros bench coach Joe Espada. That's who that's who they'd look at. But looking like he might not go. I'm opposed to this, though. If Aaron Boone were on the open market, how many teams do you think would be interested in him? You don't really?
I don't think many, Gabe. Because if you can't close the deal with all that you're handed in New York, how are you going to do it in Denver?
Right, but he did win a lot of ball games, and he had some good. It was a good product he put on the field for the most part. 328 and 218 in 3 seasons.
And that payroll number wins you a lot of ball games. He's got to win the other ones.
And for teams,
I think they buy their way into October, and he hasn't advanced them.
And for teams that I think are out there looking for a manager, I think he would be sort of the splash look. I think there would be a little bit of interest if he was on the open market. Now,
Love Adam Wainwright on TV, but love Buck Showalter on MLB Network. I mean, when that guy talks, it's old school. It's hard nosed, and that may not fit with some clubhouses now.
Right, but like we said, NLCS has yet to be set tomorrow. We'll have the final rubber match, Game 5. Giants versus the Dodgers, and whoever wins moves on to play the Braves, Red Sox, and Astros set in the ALCS. When we come back on the other side, we have a quick conversation with Sheriff Bill Rasco. He's having a charitable event that we will discuss with him. We'll do that on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped from our shipping kitchen, and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Hi, I'm Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We've all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, that's not possible. There are aerial pictures that can be taken every 4 years that can be used to measure most buildings, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one looking at pictures that could be 4 years old. If you'd rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, give us a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best service we know how to give. Five-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
We have visited with DeSoto County Sheriff Bill Rasco a couple of times, and we will even more going forward in the future for the great work that he's doing. And I said the last time we had Sheriff Rasco with us, and we bring him on now, I said I just love the kindness and the compassion, face and heart that you are putting on policing at a time where so much criticism is out there, Sheriff, on policing. And I think it's so instrumental and so key for y'all to be a part of the community. And you're doing it again Saturday night. John 316 Ministries, that you're very involved in, presents Summer 2021, Saturday night into Summer Jam, benefiting John 316 Ministries. It's at the Lander Center, $15 general admission ticket, featuring Crowder and Andrew Ripp. Sheriff Rasco, great work, and we're glad you could join us and talk about your outstanding organization that you work so hard in.
Well, we really appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to come on today and talk about the opportunity that we give these young men who have gotten addicted to drugs and alcohol. We all make mistakes and we all make different choices, but this John 3:16 is a place where if a person wants to get his life straight, he can. And the outstanding thing about it is it does not cost the family one penny. So what we do is we have fundraisers different times of the year for John 3:16. And this coming Saturday night, it's a great time to come and show your support for an organization who are helping young men and women around this country to be able to get their life back straight and do the right thing and get Jesus in their mind.
And Sheriff, I don't think there's anything better for a community than when somebody needs a helping hand, that you extend that hand. You extend that hand out of love, and y'all are doing it. Now, there's some criteria that they must accept in John 3:16 Ministries. It's 21 years and older. The applicant must concede that they've hit rock bottom. I don't think you have many issues with that. I think when they turn to you, they've realized that I need help.
Yes. But when somebody comes to jail and I have the opportunity and they ask for help, I'm going to do everything I can to help them. But I want you to know it's not only me that's helping them. The judges and the prosecutors are also giving leniency to them to go to John 3:16. It doesn't do away with their charges. They come back, and if they graduate from John 3:16, the judges will either put them on probation or suspend their charges whatsoever. But that's the thing about it. The people here in DeSoto County are wanting to do whatever they can for these young men to get their lives back straight and keep them out of the jail and off the criminal list.
And Sheriff, I appreciate it so much, just considering how many people, how many families struggle with this. When you talk about family members, how relatable and how much you're helping in regards to just everyday life. This is an everyday thing that a lot of people have to deal with, and families are affected.
Oh, yes. And the thing about it is, it not only affects the person who's using, it affects that whole family.
Yep.
I mean, it puts them all in desperate shape. They're at rock bottom also, not knowing what they can and can't do for their child. So what we're doing is trying to get them to realize there's a better way than a better life, and that's what John 3:16 gives.
And the multiplier effect, the destruction that drug abuse or alcohol abuse or anything abusive like that, the destruction in its wake, it leaves a wide swath, but also the comeback. I believe in people's comeback. I know Saturday night, again, $15 general admission tickets at the Landers Center for Crowder and Andrew Ripp, with it benefiting John 3:16 Ministries. Have you ever seen somebody, Sheriff, that you thought, now, I know he's saying he wants help, but there's no way we can ever help this one. And then a year, 2 years, 3 years later, he or she's leading a upward noble life. Have you seen that big turnaround?
I have seen that turnaround numerous times.
Yeah.
And we've got people who've been to John 3:16 are now back. They holding a full-time job. They got their life back together. They got their family back together, and they're good for the community now, because they can go out and talk to people themselves that are doing the same thing that they were doing to try to get them straight.
Now, this facility is located over in Arkansas, right?
Yes, sir. In Charlotte, Arkansas. It's 2.5-hour drive from DeSoto County. And I've made it several times on people who graduated and people getting in over there. And I'll just be honest to tell you, you drive up over there, it's out in the country. They've got 100 and something acres down there, and they've got a fabulous, it's something different when you drive over that hill and see that facility with 180 men there who are turning their lives around.
Email infos at john316thecure.com. Info at john316thecure.com. A number to speak with staff over in Charlotte, Arkansas at 870-799-2525. It's not you report to summer Boy Scout camp. The ministry, they have some rules. You accept people 21 years older. You must concede you're at rock bottom, must be humble, admit that you have a problem and that you want help. You have to be willing and be able to do physical work. Yes,
you do. And that's the thing about it. That's the reason it doesn't cost the family anything, because the men do go out and work for different companies, and then that they pay John 3:16, and it helps them and helps the family too. But talking about Saturday night, anybody who doesn't have a ticket this time, if you want to call me at my cell phone is 901-299-6258. 901-299-6258. Call me anytime, and I can get you a ticket.
And that is his cell, I can assure you. You give that cell out. You always do with us, Sheriff. And, Sheriff, yes, we so appreciate the work you're doing. You can go to Ticketmaster. You can call the Sheriff's cell, $15 general admission. Saturday night at Landers Center. Great folks there. Crowder with Andrew Ripp once again performing. Again, $15 general admission. How's our friend Austin Eldridge? I text with him usually around Ole Miss football games. How's he doing?
He's doing great. You know he's back at work.
I know
We've got him back doing some paperwork now.
Don't work him too hard.
I'm not going to work him too hard. That boy's doing great. I'm very proud of him. Sure am.
Boy, we are too. We are too. Chef Rasco, thank you for all that you've done, and anything we can do for you in the future, you let us know, because I sure believe in the Lord's work that you're doing.
Thank you so much for what you do, Sheriff.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
And we sure appreciate it. And Gabe, you know, I there was so much emphasis last summer and now on policing, putting a compassionate face out there, and we have it right here in our community.
We sure do. We sure do. And just to fight for those of us in our community that really struggle with demons every day. And I absolutely love to see that. Every family, what I was telling him, it's just every family at some point has to deal with things like this. And to see something that hits so close to home, and something that he's doing and his people are doing to help, I love it.
I tell people that admission to rock bottom, it ain't so bad. You only got one way to go.
Yep, that's the truth. That's the truth. Now, looks like I'm going through my Twitter right this second. Looks like people are already lined up around the corner for some Memphis Madness. The madness is starting, Brett.
What time do they get out tonight? I know they're doing the blue carpet right now. Brian, what time do you think the proceedings will be over tonight?
10?
10:30? 10:30. I'm hoping 9:30.
Well, the scrimmages start at 9.
At 9. And they're not going to scrimmage more than 20 minutes, I wouldn't think.
There's not going to be a whole lot of full court pressing and trapping tonight.
No. But they also, 2 years ago they did a performance
this
after
is
it.
This is pity. There's going to be a bunch of...
There's not going to be any of that. It's going to be an NBA All-Star game out there.
And that's what we want. Tonight's for the fans. Tonight's to enjoy.
Yep. But here on the other side, we're going to switch gears. Talk with Vince Ferrara of WNML from Knoxville from the UT Network about what is going to happen this weekend. Ole Miss versus Tennessee. We're going to talk some SEC, some college football with him when we come back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
It's football time in Memphis, and if you or someone you know is thinking of selling their home, it sure better be home selling time in Memphis. And just like you may have a favorite team, favorite coach, or favorite players, you may not have a favorite real estate agent. If you don't, think about drafting me, Sheldon Rosengarten, with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. I always tell people they need to talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers to find out who will be the best quarterback of their home selling team. Have you heard people say that when you want the job done, call Sheldon? Find out why my award-winning, highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option can mean the difference in whether you sit or sell. Also find out how to take advantage of our worldwide relocation network. Call or email me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon Rosengarten at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now, and go Tigers.
When you think of 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination, you probably think first of the always perfect steaks cooked over an open flame. And you'd be right. But you should also think of wine. The wine program at 117 Prime is far and away the best in Memphis. Whether you're looking for top-of-the-line Cabernets, champagne made by the same families for centuries, or a bottle from someplace you've never heard of, the expert staff at Prime will help you find the perfect wine to accompany your perfect meal. Your perfect meal at 117 Prime.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
The third hour is here on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Brian Davis doing a great job producing the program. Continue to text the show at the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255, as we are just an hour away from doors opening at the FedEx Forum for Memphis Madness. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking Tennessee. We're talking Ole Miss with our friend from Radio WNML in Knoxville, Vince Ferrara, at Vince Sports on Twitter. Vince, how are you?
Hey, Vince.
Brett, Gabe, doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
We're ready. I'm ready to be up on Rocky Top. It's been a while for Ole Miss. I hadn't been up there since 2010. I hadn't been to any game up there since 2012, and it'll be hopping. Got a checkerboard scene Saturday night, and I expect everybody to just be throwing bouquets of roses in the welcoming of Lane Kiffin back, Vince.
Yeah, it will be a mixed reaction, and he's
It'll be like
asked
Lady
about
Godiva coming into town, won't it?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some couch references and press conference references. It's been kind of a week to sort of reminisce how his exit went down in his 1-year tenure, and that will continue as the week went on. And he was asked, what kind of reception do you think you're going to get? He's like, I really don't know. So there's some that have come around on him, and time heals those wounds, and then there's others that are like, you kidding me? No way. Everybody was talking, a lot of people were talking about him being the coach or wanting him as coach when Josh Heupel was hired. So there's a mixed reaction to him, but he's a lightning rod. He's entertaining, and he's willing to talk. So it's only adding to the fun, and of course the night game I think enhances that even more. And Checker Nealon then piles on top of that.
And Vince, the last 2 weeks for Tennessee have definitely set this up. Big win against Missouri, a big win against South Carolina. The switch to Hendon Hooker has been awesome, and it's set up what is going to be a raucous crowd, a fantastic night crowd in Knoxville. When was the last time though that there was this big of a crowd for a night game in Knoxville?
Boy, it's been a while. I'd say the one, and that's been there's been different games that have been brought up. I think probably the game that people talk about the most was early in the Butch Jones tenure, and that was the Oklahoma game where Tennessee was up big and they kicked a field goal at the 1-yard line, and Baker Mayfield led that comeback. That's probably the one that's been mentioned the most by fans, and probably that kind of bar. There's been other night games, but not one with this kind of anticipation, with the fans re-energized. That's probably the closest one, or the most recent one that I think is the best to point out.
Vince, I can't stand what conference expansion and realignment and what it's done to scheduling. There was a time that Tennessee and Ole Miss was a really big rivalry, especially here. Often that game was played in Memphis. Johnny Majors finally got rid of that when he said, why are we playing a home game in their backyard and accommodating them when we have this big old stadium here? And time kind of got those type places like Tennessee and Auburn playing at Legion Field. Time got those. To the Tennessee fan under 50, does Ole Miss mean anything to them?
Not really. I mean, not historically as a name program, but means something because Lane Kiffin is there.
Yeah.
And for some, they still like him, and obviously others that want to beat his backside. So, yeah, I think that's the only reason. Last time Tennessee played Ole Miss was in Oxford in 2014. So, yeah, a lot of these series for the opposite division takes a long time to cycle through, and that's one of the things that with the expansion of the SEC with Oklahoma and Texas coming up, and there are a lot of those scenarios and what the league might look like. One of the things that was proposed was either ditching the divisions or having it be only, say, 2 permanent opponents, and then you kind of cycle through a lot of the others more frequently, and maybe if the player's there 4 years, he gets to see everybody home or away. So I would like to see it for sure, but yeah, it really doesn't resonate historically anymore with the younger fans.
What's the fan feel around Josh Heupel and the job he's done so far? I know that he probably wasn't recepted very well when they made the hire. There's a lot of people probably thought they could have done better. But how at this point is the fan support with Josh Heupel?
I think it is improved. It's enhanced. If you're going to take an approval rating, that kind of thing, I think it's improved. There was plenty of mixed reaction at first, like you mentioned, Gabe, but it's improved because of the last 2 weeks, and now they've delivered on the kind of offense that has been what Josh Heupel's done at every single one of his stops. So there's more of a belief in that, and it's more enjoyable. It gives them a fighting chance in college football in 2020, which they really didn't give themselves much of a chance last year and under Pruitt, the way they were running offense. So at least fans have that aspect of it. I still think that most people are TBD on what he will be long term. Like, I don't know that people are proclaiming beating Alabama and winning the SEC or him being a championship level coach. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a fair amount of the fan base that thinks he's better than any of the most recent coaches that they've had, the last 3 for sure. So from that standpoint, it's positive. But look, the attendance hasn't been through the roof yet, and that's why this sellout is noteworthy. The way they're playing is a big part of that, as you mentioned. And then, who they're playing and, the fact that it's a night game, all those things factor in, the Check O'Neal and all those things, the black jerseys last week, all that has enhanced the profile of the program and Heupel, because there wasn't great belief going into the year, for the exception of a few of the most positive, and that's unusual for Tennessee fans. So now that they're fired up again, I think that shows that they believe Heupel is improving this roster and getting the most out of them and developing players.
Danny White deserves a lot of credit, doesn't he?
Absolutely. It's his guy, and he's listening to the fans. He's listening to the players. One of the things that he and Heupel did is they met with the players, or both of them, when they first got here, and said, what do you guys want? What do you guys need? What's important to you? And, Heupel even admitted, look, the uniforms weren't the first thing the guys said, but it was something that was mentioned. And then after they got, their feet settled under them and settled in a little bit, then they kind of revisited that. There's been a lot of angst about the beer sales and the long lines at concessions at Neyland Stadium. And so a lot of people complained, and then they've drastically enhanced the beer sales points, and then also the staff that's working there. Now you're going to add like 40,000 more people in there, so I don't know that you're going to see the results of that just yet. But he is listening to them. He listened to Tony Vitello with baseball. We've talked about that. We don't know the final product of what that's going to look like, but he listened to him. I think he's done a really nice job, and it's not surprising that he has been on top of things, been very aggressive. He's asking for money from fans, so the donations are going to help them get.
They always are.
Done. Yeah, no doubt. But he was successful out at UCF, and as long as Tennessee continues to not butcher things publicly from a PR standpoint, and buyouts and all that kind of stuff, and their products are improving, I think he'll get the money that he needs to help them enhance their facilities.
How important has the switch to Hendon Hooker been on the field for that offense?
Oh, massive. Dave, it's not just the offense, which you're absolutely right on, but I think it has juiced and energized the entire team. Mm-hmm. And I did the Vol Network pregame interview, and I talked to Solon Page, the third one of the rotating linebackers, and he said, look, Hendon Hooker, man, he's talking to our defense all the time and saying, keep your head up. We're gonna get you the ball back. We're gonna get in the end zone, and then you guys, do your thing afterwards. And a lot of the players have spoken to how Hooker has been, one, a calming presence, but two, a guy that communicates with them. And I think they do feed off of what he's done. He's a more natural runner. He's been so much more accurate than Joe Milton. And the decision making, the accuracy, he's number 1 in the SEC in passer efficiency, number 5 in the nation. He's been everything to their turnaround.
Right.
They're so close to hitting some of those big plays early in the season. A lot of fans, and they're probably right, saying, look, if Hooker's a quarterback to start against Pitt, Tennessee might be 5-1 right now. He's changed so much. He adds that run game element, and he's been really efficient. He's not turning the ball over anymore, other than that Pitt game. So it's just everything you could want from that position for his offense, the tempo, everything else. He's been the catalyst to all of it. And there's been more that's played well besides it, but he has been that guy that started things for him.
And how much has the conversation come up about Joe Milton starting the year? How many people have sort of chimed in to talk about that conversation?
Well, Gabe, you know how it works, right? We're on radio,
right?
We make predictions, we talk about it, and then people want to blame us. Like, so much for you guys saying Joe Milton was going to be the quarterback. Well, here's the thing. I know I said it. I was very adamant. It might have been with you guys as well. I was adamant that the coaches were going to start the year with Joe Milton, not because I thought he was going to put up X number of stats for the year. I didn't make those declarations. I didn't know that. I just know they liked his upside, and I felt confident that that's the guy they were going to go with, and so they did. So you can be critical about us talking about Joe Milton and not Hendon Hooker. Well, that's who the coaches went with. So they learned. And here's another factor in it. If Joe Milton doesn't get hurt in that Pittsburgh game, who knows when they make the switch? Because then it'd be on production. And so that's another crazy aspect of this. He came in the game out of necessity. Joe Milton couldn't return. He stayed banged up for the Florida game and Tennessee Tech in the Florida game. And then Hooker has had enough time to seize it and play really well. But we don't know when they would have made a switch for production if he doesn't get hurt. Just another weird part of this.
That Pitt game, I think the Tennessee defensive coaches have to be watching a lot of that game thinking that's the closest thing we may see the rest of the year to Kenny Pickett is Matt Corral.
I think so, because he's got escapability. Matt Corral obviously is different, and they do some more design runs with him than I think they do Pickett. But that escapability that gave Tennessee problems is what Corral brings to the table. They got more weapons at Ole Miss. They have a running game, which Pitt did not. So that makes the challenge even greater to try to slow them down. And Tennessee's run defense has been outstanding this year. Really good, among the best in the SEC. The one game that they weren't is the game where there was a running quarterback that was involved in the run game, and that was Emory Jones at Florida. So I don't think Ole Miss runs Matt Corral by design as much, but that was the one thing that gave Tennessee problems. We'll see if they've improved from that, but that's one of the really key parts of this
running.
game.
He likes to run, and he likes to. It scares him to death when he ducks that right shoulder.
Yeah, no fear for sure. But look, I think that's part of the beauty of Kiffin is he lets that kid be himself while still coaching him up. But that relationship has grown, and he has a ton of swagger like his head coach does. So I think they're pretty much on the same page. He obviously doesn't want him to be in harm's way, but I think he'll take some of that if it juices up his teammates, and then they make a big, smart play after that.
Vince, it's been one of the best coach-quarterback symbiosis that I've ever seen after what Matt went through with Rich Rodriguez and Phil Longo, where if they were attorneys, they would be disbarred for malpractice with what they did to him. I mean,
There's
how
no
you didn't
doubt. You're right.
transfer, I'm still stunned by.
Yeah, you guys know it being there, but just so impressed at what Kiffin is able to do with quarterbacks and having trust in him and getting the most out of him. I still think, even Alabama game, whatever, kid didn't turn the ball over. Yeah, well, he hasn't thrown an interception. I mean, that shows his growth for sure. And they're going to be tough to stop. I expect a very high scoring game, kind of a little surprise.
Up and down.
It's not a bigger
How
number
many?
than it is.
How many?
Yeah.
You get first to score
I'd
50
say-
wins?
I'd say closer to 90 as the total. So, maybe 40, 46, 45, 46, somewhere around
That's
there.
what Ole Miss is averaging, is 46.
I think it's going to come down to turnovers, which Tennessee has really drastically cut out, turnovers and penalties. And that was a huge issue for them during their up and down stretch in the first 4 games. They have cut both of those to next to nothing, and that's a big part of this. They're playing decent defense, pretty good defense from what our expectations were. And so it's just like we've seen in college football in the last couple of years with all these offenses, who can make a couple of the key stops,
right,
and who can get a turnover to steal a possession for their high-powered offense. So I think that's what it comes down to.
You count stops nowadays in college football. It's an unbelievable thing.
You
But
count punt attempts.
The Matt Corral, the thing that jumps off the page about him to me, and Brett, you could probably add to this as well, is just how swift, how quick he is in that RPO game. And I think Lane Kiffin has done a fantastic job in trying to get that up out of him.
Well, he has. Vince, and I know y'all are seeing it. He makes really good, quick decisions. He's got a real mastery of this offense. All right, Vince, tonight is Memphis Madness. Basketball season really, really big here. What's Tennessee doing to start the season, and how much are they looking forward to December 18th in Nashville for the 11 o'clock tip? We're not going to call it the ball fist game, but there's a lot of heated emotions on both sides.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and I don't know that they're having any sort of big event. I don't know that Rick Barnes is about that, but they are opening up some practices for us. They had one for their one of their first practices last week. Wasn't able to go, but I'm going to get to go tomorrow and see them practice for the first time. See some of those new players. Really added a lot in this class, and of course, as everyone there knows, and Kennedy Chandler among them, a couple of big men, which they really needed. So those are the 2 positions that they needed the most that they could have used last year with their team. So I think there's a ton of excitement. Fans probably expecting even more this year than what the projections are of them, in that 10 to 15 range. So a lot of excitement for that basketball team, and I'll get a closer look at them tomorrow, so next time I'll be able to talk about them more. But yeah, fans are ready for it despite football still going well.
That December 18th date in Bridgestone Arena, though, is going to be so wild. I'm looking forward to it. Already sold out. This far out,
great.
already sold out. I expected that, though, with the fan bases coming together. But he is Vince Ferrara at Vince Sports on Twitter. He's a sports radio host at WNML. Vince, thank you for joining us, man.
All right, guys. Enjoy the football. Always appreciate you guys having me.
You got it. Thank you, Vince. Can't wait to see you Saturday. Vince Ferraro with us this hour of our show, brought to you every day by the good people down in DeSoto County at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down for that town and country experience you've come to know, love, and trust at DeSoto Auto Sales, where all the cars are test-driven, all checked out thoroughly, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if by chance it's not on the lot, they'll go find that car just for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales, but they care about your time and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive a car, credit approved, paperwork completed, you're out of there in 45 minutes or less. They know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they keep it simple at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road. Go online and check out all the beautiful cars and check out the testimonials, the referrals, the many pleased customers at DeSotoAutosales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
So, Brett, I'm going to go ahead and pose a question that Alex posed earlier that I don't think a lot of Ole Miss fans are going to be very happy with me asking this question, but it's certainly something that needs to be put out there. With the RPO game getting into the NFL, you see how well it's working in Arizona. How likely do you think it is that we could see a possible another sighting of Lane Kiffin in the NFL?
I don't think it's likely for this reason, because the first experience was so bad at 33 years old. Now 47, and a lot of personal and professional growth there. He really loves just the day in, day out grind of coaching. Well, you get to do that more with the NFL. In college, it's more about mama and recruiting and boosters and all that stuff. And he does a good job with that.
He seems to almost appreciate and like. I don't think any coach, is that happy to go out on the trail and recruit and spend all those hours away from home. But it seems like Lane does embrace it, to say the least.
He's enjoying it more, and he enjoys it more than most probably think he does. Gabe, I think if all of them would tell the truth, none of them really like recruiting. The ones that say they do, they fake it better than others.
Yeah, they like seeing smiles on the recruit's face. And they're not going to tell them the truth, because if they tell them exactly what they think, you're going to have to work, you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to do that, the recruits wouldn't come. But
the thing I've loved the most about him is he's not pumping sunshine. Saturday, immediately on the field with the TV interviewer, he kind of took a shot at his own defense. He was sure glad he won, but he wasn't running around, jersey popping, acting like he wasn't running around jersey popping, acting like he had just won the national championship game.
It made fun of himself. We can finally go get that popcorn. And people appreciate that. And I know that people won't forget him actually saying that before the Bama game with how it ended up.
Never will.
But he seems
that
like
may be the popcorn game going forward.
He is so much more adjusted, I think, mentally, being stable than he was that first go around with the Raiders. And I'm not saying that he would up and leave and go to the NFL, but the fit for his style makes a lot more sense in the NFL than it did 10 years ago.
Just to go draw up plays. Yeah, just to coach all the time, and it's a very offensive league now. The ultimate offensive coach from the son of the ultimate defensive coach. Isn't that something?
Yeah, that is something. But you know enough defense, you learn enough defense, you learn exactly how to attack it. So there is that.
Man, it's going to be two going at it Saturday. Nothing's going to be left in the quiver Saturday. If there's a gadget play, it's coming out Saturday, because it's the fork in the road game. I didn't ask Vince this because I know all the Tennessee people are really, really weary of this question. And I don't think there's a game this year, unless if they upset Bama and Tuscaloosa next week, maybe that, or Georgia and Knoxville. This won't be the game to say Tennessee's back. But this is the game to say Tennessee's off the mat.
Yeah. The past 2 weeks, for me at least, did that. To see them go.
They've been getting up.
Yes, to see them go to Mizzou and put up, and I know Mizzou's defense is very, very bad and porous, but to see them go put up 62 and beat them by 30-plus definitely showed me that Heupel, what he's doing the right things, putting the culture into motion. The wheels are spinning now with Hendon Hooker as the quarterback. Now, if they go in and they stay close in this game right now, it's only 2.5 right this second that Ole Miss is favored by. If they stay close in this game, I would officially say Tennessee's up off the mat.
Yeah, and that has plunged from the Sunday release of the lines. I think it was around 6. The point spreads on Sunday. It's tracked in Tennessee's favor. At the same time, the total has gone up. I'd just be stunned if it was a game in the 20s. It might be 20-20 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, I think the over is 100% in play, and I know it's at 82.5 right this second. But this is going to be an up and down game. It's going to be a lot of big plays, and I would be incredibly surprised if we don't have one team in the 50 range.
And that in 2009, that's now a long time ago. Think how much the style of college football has changed in that 12-year span, Gabe. I mean, we were still wearing the big gladiator shoulder pads then, and now everybody's running out there just in that lean, mean, lethal outfit. Yep. I mean, they hardly have pads.
Yeah, and tight jerseys, tight pants, doing the whole thing, trying to limit the wind drafts, be more aerodynamic. I don't know what that's for, but Yeah, it's completely different, and I still always come back to the fact that we are now defensively, even in the SEC, and well, Big Ten's a little different, but even in the SEC, counting stops on defense, where
No doubt.
It never used to be like that. Alabama used to win with a game manager and
LSU.
And
Alabama
Florida with a game manager and a run game and a defense. That's how it was done.
And the defensive room goals for total yards allowed, rushing, all that has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Points allowed, everything has changed.
Yep, it's just to hold them under 200 yards rushing or what have you. But it should be
and try to hang on at the end.
Yep. Just get the stop when it counts. When it counts, turn the ball. Try to get some turnovers and make big plays. That's what it's become. But a big one in Knoxville, Ole Miss traveling to Tennessee. I'm very excited to see that one. When we come back on the other side, we'll talk about what's trending, and there is a whole lot. We have the Lincoln Riley situation. There's some NBA news that I want to get to involving something that Tyler Hero said about what category he thinks he should be in the NBA. And also we have the Grizzlies at Pacers tonight. We'll get to that when we come back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with Mizuno irons and wedges. The JPX 921 Hot Metal Pro, Tour, and Forged irons offer Mizuno's fastest ball speeds ever. And the new T22 wedges feature 4 different sole grinds for varying techniques and conditions. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Hey, Memphis, thinking about buying a truck or SUV? Then come to the Sunrise Truck Corral. Want a red truck, black truck, white truck? How about a blue truck? Black wheels, chrome wheels. Come to the Sunrise Truck Corral. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, extended cab, crew cab. Want a lifted truck? Come to the Sunrise Truck Corral. Want a diesel? How about a gas engine? Ford, Dodge, Chevy, Jeep, GMC, Toyota. We got them all at the Sunrise Truck Corral, the only dedicated truck lot in Memphis. Can't find a truck you like? Call, click, or come in. We'll find you the dream truck. Sunrise Truck Corral, Old Hummer Building on Highway 64 in Bartlett. We make it fun to buy a truck.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
Saturday, October 16th, Landers Center South Haven welcomes Summer Jam, benefiting John 316 Ministries, featuring Grammy Award-winning Christian singer-songwriter Crowder. Summer Jam, October 16th with Crowder.
Come out of sadness from wherever you've been. Come broken.
Summer Jam with Crowder and Andrew Ripp.
Good God Almighty.
Your attendance makes a difference, with proceeds to help keep the John 316 program free to any man with drug or alcohol addiction. Get your tickets now at landerscenter.com for $15 or less than $20 at Ticketmaster. Summer Jam at Landers Center, October 16th, with Grammy Award-winning Christian singer-songwriter Crowder.
Belly Acres' motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. 2 great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Daria or the Double Daria, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Belly Acres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Belly Acres.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back to football tomorrow night. We'll have that pick. We'll have the Tiger pick tomorrow. We may have some baseball we got to sort out tomorrow. There will be a lot to pick tomorrow. But tomorrow night, Tigers and Navy. Tonight, Memphis Madness. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel NFL Week 6. It's right here. It's right here on us. It's here tomorrow night. FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. Thursday night, tomorrow night's a great opportunity to give it a try. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay with 3 legs or more. If your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. I love Tom Brady tomorrow night. He always wants to get some revenge against the Eagles for what happened at the Super Bowl in Minneapolis. I like both offenses to have a big day. So start with Tom Brady in the over, Jalen Hurts over the rushing yards, and the total points in the fourth quarter. Fast payouts at FanDuel. Easy to use, safe and secure, America's #1 sports book. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in that bet today at FanDuel Sportsbook. App so easy to use and get up to $10 back if your first bet doesn't win. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code CASH to also receive 30-1 enhanced odds on the Thursday night matchup. Win $150 on a $5 bet. That's promo code CASH so they know I sent you. Must be 21 and older or present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and on the web. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Programming change tomorrow, a little scheduling change because of the Tigers game tomorrow, Gabe. Mm-hmm. We'll have Greg with us at 3:30.
Yep. And
then at 5 o'clock, we'll talk the national college football scene with Bill Bender from the Sporting News.
And with that Navy-Memphis game, it's always funny going into the Navy game because you always talk about the same things. You talk about gap control, being sound. Don't go make too many. Don't try to make a play that you're not coached to in practice. But with Navy offensively, you can just, it doesn't matter what the names are. It's the same thing coming at you every single year. And I thought last
Navy.
Yeah, Navy, exactly.
That's the name.
The only 2 guys that really stood out, I'd say, in the past decade or so, Keenan Reynolds and Malcolm Perry?
Well, they did. They were extraordinary option quarterbacks and gave in the day when every high school from 7th grade through college ran the triple option. Those guys would have been in that elite Oklahoma legion of quarterbacks with Thomas Lott and Jamel Holloway and Terry Steve Davis and Jack Mildren. I mean, they'd have been up there with J.C. Watts. I mean, and one of the best at SMU when Lance McElhenney, when he would catch that corner. I mean, you didn't know if you attacked him, he's pitching it to Dickerson or James.
Mm-hmm.
And if you covered the pitch man, McElhaney's cutting it upfield for 50.
And the fullbacks in those situations usually do so much damage. I remember when we were playing Navy in my University of Memphis career, there was a guy named Chris Swain, 6'1", 250 pounds. Those quick hitters up the middle, if you're not gap sound with those defensive tackles and those linebackers, they will gash you for 50 yards with a guy who runs about a 5 flat.
Yeah, what year was that? Gabe?
That would have been 2015. That's when they came in.
Was he a senior that year?
Yes, I believe so. They came into Memphis and beat us when we were 8-0, ranked 13th.
So he was a senior that year. He has his military obligation with the United States Navy. I wonder where he is today.
Right.
Wonder where he has served and what he has done, because when they leave at graduation, you know the commitments they have made, and us, the taxpayer, we've sent them to school and they go off to serve. But when they're out there playing, you know, old fullback for the Navy's got to be out there doing a tough job somewhere.
Yes, and at those academies, if you are a captain on those teams, that is just such a high honor, and I have so much respect for what they do. But to sort of prove the point of what I was talking about, it doesn't matter about the names; it's just Navy in general. I have not heard until this week, well, the past 2 weeks, because he's been okay. But Ty Lavatai is their quarterback this year, and he's done well. He's sort of revitalized their offense. I know they fired an offensive coordinator earlier in the year, but he's come in and done a good job. We'll talk about that more tomorrow when the Tigers face off against Navy.
That's kind of odd. So you fire him. It's not like you're bringing in the guy to run 5 wide.
Yeah, I
mean, what do you replace him with?
That was my question, but it has worked out. I mean, they got rid of the guy, and they've played a lot better offensively past 2 weeks.
Gabe, years ago, Lee Corso came to town and spoke at the Touchdown Club. It was over at the University Club then, and he was great. And he was in the prime of his career and really quick-witted, and he had a good line. He goes, whenever you fire a coach, if the last guy was a short, fat guy, you're going to hire a tall, skinny guy. And next is the head coach. If you fire a tall, skinny guy, you kind of want a short, fat guy next.
Complete opposite.
Yeah,
you got to change the culture. Got to do if you didn't like the way it was going, you got to do something to completely switch it around.
You kind of have to go oppo, and that's why I think Josh Heupel and Lane Kiffin and Sam Pittman, maybe Brian Harsin right now, and he gets that test Saturday at Fayetteville. I think there's some first and second year guys in SEC really doing some coaching.
Yep, there is. And we have somebody on the text line that has chimed in and said they have loved the job. They're a Vol fan. They have loved the job that Josh Heupel has put together the past 2 weeks. Another one says, this is the most jazzed up for a game Tennessee has been since the home opener with Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield, so agreeing with Vince Ferrara.
Yeah.
That was the last sellout, they say, before this Saturday.
Tennessee should have won that night. I mean, I watched a lot. That was a late Saturday night game, and I thought they were going to win.
That was the Sterling Shepard, Baker Mayfield show.
Ooh, and that was a show, wasn't it?
Yes,
Baker Mayfield could do it.
Oh, that was an overtime game, correct?
Uh-huh,
yep.
Sure was. And Oklahoma, where would Tennessee be if their best player on offense, Eric Gray, was not at Oklahoma, and their best player on defense, wasn't at Bama?
That's a good
question.
You
lose those two big pieces.
That's a great question, but I think running back-wise, they're actually pretty well off.
They're pretty good.
Tyon Evans and Jabari Small's been hurt, but he's coming back. And Jabari Small's he's a good back. But Eric Gray, and has Oklahoma really used Eric Gray all that much? I haven't seen him.
I don't.
Kennedy Brooks has been the lead back.
They did opening day against Tulane, and then not a lot. I thought should be used more.
Brett, he's a pro. He's a pro. He's an NFL guy, and I would like to see him down the stretch of the season. Hopefully they get him more involved in that offense because
his running style very reminiscent of someone we mentioned earlier. Eric Gray's very reminiscent of Mark Dodson.
Yes, but Eric Gray, he does a good job out of the backfield too, catching
hands
some
probably
passes.
a little better than Mark's. Uh-huh.
Yeah, catching some passes. So I want to see him get a little more involved with that Oklahoma offense. And one more Vol fan says, I haven't seen Vol fans this pumped in years. I mean, there hasn't been much to be pumped about, and I'm glad. At
Gabe,
this point.
When I first started in this, Tennessee, it was fall of '92 when they had Heath Schuler, and it was rolling, and had a little of the soap opera with Coach Majors out. In fact, it was in Memphis in that '92 season where they gave him the news that he was out and Fulmer was in, and then Peyton Manning shows up, T. Martin shows up, and the just kind of the self-fulfilling prophecy that how they got it rolling in the 90s into the 21st century. I never would have believed Tennessee football would have gotten to the despair that it's gotten to, and I'm glad they're back. It makes it more fun in this area for us doing this.
And it does make it more fun to have that sort of brand doing well, but somebody texts me, they say you shouldn't be glad, but you should be happy for them. I'm happy for our texter. But they remind me because I I have my ties to the University of Memphis. I shouldn't be glad.
That's right.
That Tennessee's great.
There's always somebody out there to correct you. And it's why, Gabe, you think of and I think Greg McElroy more than Barrett. Barrett Jones, I think he gets a big break being on that national radio package instead of that TV town to town. Because, man, when I go through and I see some of the things Bama fans say to Greg after he's done a Bama game or commented about Bama, there's not anybody that loves Alabama on earth more than Greg McElroy.
Right. And he still gets it.
It drove Kirk Herbstreit out of Columbus.
Yep.
That same squeezing you too tight.
It happens. It happens.
Don't squeeze Gabe too tight.
No, I mean, within reason. I can handle it. Now, in the NBA,
Tyler Hero.
Grizzlies
the hero of the bubble, wasn't he?
Let's start.
I thought he was going to go to the Hall of Fame coming out of the bubble, didn't you?
Well, should we have a bubble Hall of Fame? We need a separate bubble Hall of Fame, I think.
If we had a bubble Hall of Fame, he would be in a league of his own.
T.J. Warren too. Where would T.J. Warren would be the
Jamal Murray?
He would be the GOAT.
Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray
That's
had
a good
huge
one.
bubble.
Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan Mitchell did it out of the bubble.
Help me with the All-Star from Kentucky on Miami too.
Bam Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo.
He was solid last year. Not he wasn't
quite
over
the bubble, Bam.
Right. But
Olympic gold medalist,
right,
Bam Adebayo.
Yes. Thank you for reminding us.
Yes.
Real quick, though, Grizzlies at Pacers tonight. We did talk about yesterday with Drew Hill about the Dillon Brooks hand injury. They weren't being completely see-through about it, but it looks like he will miss the start of the season for the Grizzlies. Now, Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero was on a podcast yesterday, and he was having a conversation, and someone basically asked him where he thinks he ranks among the guys in his draft class, the young guys. And this is the exact quote. Quote, Luka, Trey, Ja. I feel like my name should be in that category too, end quote. With all due respect, in the bubble, maybe. In the bubble, you were probably on that level. You were scoring about 20 points a game. You had a 37-point game in the finals. You were fantastic. But, Tyler, you have to break your starting rotation before you get on these guys' level, right? I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah, now, he may be mentioned with those names, but it's Luka, Ja, and then a pause until about the time we come back on tomorrow at 3, and then Tyler Hero. And if we had that big a pause, it'd shut the computer down, and people would be running, the engineer would be running in going, are y'all off there? What's going on? It would be that kind of pause after those first two names.
I think Tyler Hero is a good player. I do. I mean, 15 points a game off the bench. You have to respect his game. He's a very good shooter, knockdown type of guy. But he does not provide near what these guys provide for their teams. He's not even in the starting lineup.
And he's with a lot better supporting cast than either of those other two.
And he was sort of put early in his career. I mean, was that his rookie year? That was his rookie year, the bubble year.
I picked him to be Rookie of the Year that year.
Yeah, but that was his rookie year, and he emerged his rookie year as that guy because his team was in the finals. That's the only reason that Tyler Hero got the pub that he did at that time.
And this is not a shot at Taylor Jenkins, but Tyler Heroes had Eric Spoelstra to coach him, and Luka, until the change, had Rick Carlisle.
Mm-hmm.
That supporting cast, that makes it a lot more cozy for Tyler Hero, a legend, obviously, in his own mind.
Yes, and all the conversations.
But you got to be confident, don't you?
Yeah, you do. But after the bubble, the conversations were about how he's going to be an all-star next year. That didn't happen.
I think I was saying some of that.
I had to give him his credit at the time. But he was never. He was not as good as people led us to believe.
Anthony Sane led that in our building, and
right.
I give Anthony credit for it. Slow down on putting Tyler Hero in Springfield.
Tyler Bubble. Oh, I found his middle name, Tyler Bubble Hero.
Yeah,
he's the Bubble Hero. But he did a good job in the bubble. But Luka, Trey, Ja, we can't do that. Also, did you see J.R. Smith in his first outing of a round of golf, North Carolina A&T?
Poor J.R.
He's a walk-on, to be fair.
And it may be something in my personality, and especially since he's okay. But I just couldn't quit laughing over it. I couldn't quit laughing over it.
Did you see the video of him getting stung by the Hornets too?
Well, and
so here's the finished 81 out of 84, 29 over on the tournament. and got stung by hornets in the process. You can't go much further down than that, right?
Not a good first outing.
But only going up from there.
Only
right?
going up, yeah. Well, unless he finishes 84th next turn.
And I can't pronounce that word correctly. That when you're allergic to bee stings or something like that, so obviously he's not, and that's good. And I can't pronounce that word correctly, but poor JR. And I texted somebody last night. You don't think he was topless, do you? Remember when he couldn't keep a shirt on during all the festivities?
Hey, but the guy's having fun. And he's going back to school trying to get a degree. That's all that matters to me.
And I joked with Bryant Friday afternoon. The road trips are fun, and he's taking care of all the food and stuff on the trips, and he's showing a good time for those young guys.
Yeah, it'd be fun to be a 18-year-old golf player at North Carolina and have your teammate be J.R. Smith. That's the only reason that they're going to mention your golf team the entire year.
Yeah.
It also shows that elite golfer, and that's not your most elite competitive tournament out there. And there are more competitive college tournaments than that. And I would say J.R. Smith would be a good weekend player at most clubs, most municipals, most scrambles, most events, and 81 out of 84.
Yeah, and I saw a couple of his shots. A couple of approach shots were very nice.
His approach game was really good in the little clip I saw.
Last one time in a golf tournament.
Off the tee and putting, I heard one great.
And somebody asked me, they said, "What'd you shoot?" I said, "What's the temperature?" They said, "About 101." I said, "That's about what I shot."
Yeah, there it is. But when we come back, we have gotten to the end of this Wednesday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Memphis Madness is going to start here in about 15 minutes. We'll come back and we'll wrap up the show right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Johnny Radio's Happy Hour has a new time, but with all the same shenanigans. For all you looking for something to make you smile, think, and laugh, look no further. We're drinking from 11 to 1 Monday through Friday. Same style, same great guests, just kicking off the day a little early. Enjoy your Happy Hour 11 to 1 on Sports 56 98.5 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
I know I say this every year, but fall is the best time for Central Barbecue.
You do say that every year.
But it's true.
You say that too.
I do not.
You say fall is the perfect time of year for Central Barbecue. Nothing goes better with baseball in the NBA than Central Barbecue. And then you get all defensive when I point it out.
I do not. I don't say those things every year. You don't know everything.
Oh, and you'll also point out the smell, the slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue is the smell of autumn.
Well, it is.
I know it is. And I know you'll try to squeeze in one more mention of Central Barbecue.
Central Barbecue.
See?
You think you're so smart.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, high school.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Looking for something new at Taco Bell? Try the original tacos meets the instant classic, nacho fries. There's bound to be some magic. Nacho fries are essentially building blocks for culinary imagination. Slightly seasoned, go with bold spices. Warm nacho cheese and sour cream, loaded taco fries are covered with seasoned beef, nacho cheese sauce, ranch, tomato, and shredded cheese. In short, the legend of nacho fries lives on.
Brett, what I learned today is that the new coach for the Pelicans, Willie Green, has said that Zion Williamson will get some scans in the next day or two on his right foot, his injured right foot, and they'll proceed from there on what's next. He has not started running yet. He has not even started running yet. We are 7 days out from his first game. They are waiting on scans for that, and we know his injury history. Since the blowout of his shoe and the knee injury in 2019 at Duke, he had a torn meniscus. From there, he's been struggling with right knee soreness. He had a thumb sprain. He's had a lot of injuries in his very, very brief career. I hope it doesn't derail him.
I'm afraid we know how this ends, Gabe. I mean, does this end Greg Oden? Does this end Sam Bowie?
Zion has been unbelievable when he's on the floor, but it's getting him on the floor. That's the whole battle.
Yeah, he hadn't been out there a lot. The whole availability thing.
And Brett, I'll tell you, seeing some of the videos and some of the pictures of him in the offseason, I even saw a commercial that he's part of. He's big.
He's huge.
He's
He
gaining
ate the
weight.
whole thing.
He's gaining weight.
He ate the whole thing. Well, I learned this a little bit with the J.R. Smith 81 out of 84. Never mind the hornet stings and all that. And I'm glad he's okay. And you almost couldn't help but chuckle. But I know we can't chuckle anymore over hardly anything. But that's not trying to play at elite college level. But, Gabe, here's my theory. I've always said this. The pro golfers, the PGA Tour, that's the elite of all the pro sports. Because with a break or two, Gabe Kuhn could have gotten a shot at an NFL camp. Mm-hmm. With a break or two. We know a million. We talked about Mark Dodson earlier. Everybody thought he had pro football in his future. Basketball, we've seen it. Baseball. Golf, there's not anybody out there on that tour that doesn't belong. There's not anybody that just stumbled into it. And if you're not on it, it's simple. You're not good enough.
Golf is just you have to have so much natural ability. People say, yes, you can get coached up as much as humanly possible, but you have to have some natural ability in golf. I don't care what anybody says. Also, a little bonus here. Anthony Miller has signed to the Steelers practice squad. He was signed to the Jags practice squad. That didn't last long. Looks like the Steelers have claimed him, and it looks like they might elevate him given the Juju Smith-Schuster injury and the surgery that will end
What
this
happened
year.
to our killer Hornets? Did they
Killer
go
Hornet?
away?
I have no idea.
Remember the killer Hornet we were scared was coming this way?
The Murder Hornets?
Yeah.
Murder Hornet. Yeah. We don't need them coming around, do we?
No, I think.
Have you ever been attacked by anything?
We'll steer clear.
I've stepped into fire ants on the golf course.
Hornets.
Wasps have gotten me. I hate wasps. Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
They don't stop stinging.
I love fighting them all summer, though. I keep me some bingo always at the ready. I love going after them. Could have done without this. The NFL, they're not releasing anything, much less everything. they will leave anyone out to dry but a fellow owner. They'll throw a player overboard. They'll throw an announcer overboard. They'll throw Chucky Gruden overboard. In a lot of those cases, those people needed to be thrown overboard. But they don't ever – they're not going to let what happened to Donald Sterling happen to one of their owners and basically go into league receivership. They're not going to let that happen to them.
Yep, they will not. And it's just – they have the answers. They have the answers. Mark Davis has made that much clear. He talked to the media today and said the NFL has the answers on what the investigation was being led to find. They have the answers on that. They're just not.
I had a friend of mine ask me today, I said, I think everything you'd ever want to know about people's hearts are out there in those emails. He said, would you want every email of yours out in public? I said, it doesn't have all that in it, I guarantee you.
And know what I could have done without is the Mississippi State auditor is demanding that Brett Favre return $828,000 he received in illegally spent welfare funds that should have gone to needy families. However, Brett Favre is not among the 6 facing criminal charges for the scheme.
You know what we're watching tonight? Only the hockey. That's it. We've only got what did we have? We got y'all's Avalanche. Y'all got them winning the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
My Blues don't play till Saturday.
About 5 games tonight.
I was looking at that.
What's that about?
The Blues don't kick off the season until November, it feels like.
Yeah, that's wild.
I don't know what that's about. But that's all we have for today. Thanks to Alex Kuhn, Barrett Jones, Sheriff Bill Rasco, and Vince Ferrara. Thanks for listening, joining us on the AutoZone text line. Tomorrow we'll have Bill Bender from the Sporting News on college football, Greg Gaston on the Tigers. But for Bryant, for Brett, I'm Gabe. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your night, and join us tomorrow at 3.
Hi, this is